Reach for delight, for a new word. Feel the delight that's not so far. Today is gonna be a better day. Better life is waiting here. Just make your way and spread your wings. Enjoy the ride. Together we shall go.
Very good evening. I'd like to request us in the pre-function area to please join us inside the main hall and take a seat. May I also remind all our guests inside the hall to please put the cell phones on the silent mode for the duration of the event. Let us look forward to a great evening together. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, in the pre-function area, I'd like to bid a very good evening to all of you, and may I please request you to join us inside the main hall and take a seat. We're about to begin shortly. I'd also like to request all of you to please maintain the norms and keep wearing a mask at all times. We have also provided sanitizers across the ballroom. You're more than welcome to use them. Let's look forward to a safe, yet an absolutely wonderful time together. Thank you for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, a very good evening to all of you and a very warm welcome. May I please request all those of you in the pre-function area to join us inside the main hall and take a seat. We're all set to begin. I'd also like to request our guests to please continue wearing masks through the evening and do maintain social distancing. Let us look forward to a safe yet an absolutely interactive evening ahead. Thank you once again for joining us. May I also remind you to please keep your cell phones on the silent mode. Our guests who are just joining us inside, may I please request and urge all of you to take the first few seats available. We would love to have you up close and personal. So please take the first few seats available. Thank you. A very good evening and a very, very warm welcome. What a pleasure to see all of you right here. Those brilliant smiles that I can see even underneath the masks and that bright shine that we get because we are getting an opportunity to meet in person. Before we begin this spectacular evening, may I please request all of you to put your hands together for yourselves because you really are game changers for us. So thank you so very much for being such a spectacular part of the evening. Well, I'd like to begin with a quote from Winston Churchill. We shape our buildings, thereafter they shape us. And each of us right here do believe that the construction industry is evolving. We all have a huge role to play in that because you're the ones who really dream, who design, who create, and those who make this place a better world. So once again, as I extend a very warm welcome to each of you at the Construction World Design Build Conclave and Awards, India's largest circulated construction magazine with over 250,000 readers every month. Construction World is celebrating its Silver Jubilee year. And in its 25th year, we are undertaking a journey to various cities in the country to felicitate stalwarts who have contributed towards strengthening our built environment. And that is exactly what brings us to Delhi, which is the third city on this beautiful journey. We started with Ahmedabad in October and Bengaluru in December, and we will continue across various cities of the country. But before we begin, let me take a moment and thank our partners for their support and for trusting us. I'd like to thank our presenting partner, Panasonic, Conclave partner, Lab India. May I also thank our co-partners, Tata Pravesh and Bostik India. I'd like to thank our luxury partner, Audi, Gurugram, our gifting partner, Flabites, our knowledge partner, REA India, Housing.com, our association partner, Griha Council. And may I encourage all of you to please take various pictures through the evening and do remember to upload them on your social media with our hashtag CWDB New Delhi and hashtag Construction World. And I promise you, there's a lot of excitement in store for all of you. We want you to know more about Construction World, 25 years old and going strong. Construction World is India's largest circulated construction magazine with copies distributed across 800 cities in India and across the globe. Construction World prides in delivering the most authentic, trusted, up-to-date and timely information about construction business and has been honored with various awards including CIDC Vishwakarma Award. But let us get to know more about them through this AV. A look towards the screen, please. It's time for us to tell you more about ASAP Info Global right here through this audio visual, and this really tells us what a proud feeling we have right here as we rebuild, reconnect and reinvent right here amongst all you game changers from the industry. The construction industry is undergoing a transformation and each of you have a role to play in that. And this evening is really about celebrating all that you've done and the way your teams have worked towards it. So let's now take a look towards the screen and get to know more about ASAP Global right here.
inspiring to be amidst people like you sitting here.
For this effort. I'm delighted to be here this evening, and I'm here particularly for this function.
Congratulate the organizers for drawing our attention and focusing attention on this very important area.
Who is responsible for conceptualizing this idea.
Aspire for this event this evening, underscoring India's commitment
ASAP Info Global Group working towards creating an absolute growth story for the country. Let's put our hands together for this and the team that's really behind it. Thank you so very much. As we get set for this beautiful evening, let us begin with the auspicious lamp lighting ceremony. And to do the honors, may I please request all of you to put your hands together as I extend a very warm welcome to Mr. Pratap Padode, founder, Construction World, and founder and president of the First Construction Council. A round of applause as he joins us. May I also extend a warm welcome to our keynote speaker, Mr. Sanjay Seth, Senior Director, Sustainable Habitat TERI and Chief Executive Officer, Griha Council. A round of applause for him as he is joined by Ms. Millie Majumdar, Managing Director, GBCI and Senior Vice President, US Green Building Council. Accompanying our dignitaries for the lamp lighting ceremony, Mr. Ashwini Awasthi, Managing Director, RICS. Please put your hands together for Mr. Tarun Bhatia, President, National Association of Realtors. May I also extend a warm welcome to Mr. Vaibhav Manke from Panasonic. And may I request all of you to join us with the auspicious chants of Lord Ganesha lighting the lamp. Spreading light, spreading hope, spreading positivity with this auspicious lamp lighting ceremony as we start the evening. May I please request all of you to come closer so we can capture you in the same frame. Those beautiful smiles as we begin this evening. Thank you all. I'd like to request all of you to please take a seat. As we get set for this evening, I'd now like to extend a very warm welcome to a visionary, to somebody who not just dreams but believes in converting those dreams into reality. A trailblazer who first blazed a trail in financial journalism with his chartered accountancy background. He turned addressing the needs of the construction, the infrastructure and manufacturing sectors through ASAP Info Global Group, which was set up in 1999. He is the recipient of the Asian Multimedia Publishing Award and the Best Journalist at the CIDC Vishwakarma Awards. He has campaigned for steel quality, emission norms for construction equipment, for changes in the Municipal Act and land acquisition policy. I'm talking about none other than Mr. Pratap Adore. A round of applause for the man who has really put together Construction World Design Build Conclave Awards. May I request all of you to please welcome him on stage.
Good evening and welcome to Construction World Design Build Conclave and Awards in your very city, Delhi. And I think we have been here in December for another event before Omicron hit us. And that was when Delhi was just about sort of getting back to normal. And then, of course, January was a little terse month for all of us. And we are back, and I think now we've got other problems to think about other than COVID. So it's been a journey of 25 years for Construction World. And these 25 years have been immensely eventful. We've seen a huge transformation of beliefs, principles, ethics, the models of doing business. When we started out 25 years ago, actually people would say that whether builders, architects, consultants, are they going to share any data with you? Are they going to even provide any information for stories? And those were the days when financing of the real estate was not really from the corporate angle, wasn't through the banking channels. There were other unofficial channels which sort of funded the real estate sector. The credit of converting that unofficial channel into an official channel lay in the very fact that we needed to felicitate those that managed to conduct their businesses ethically and get rewarded for it. Unless and until you can show that there is a model where integrity pays, you can't have transparency being adopted everywhere. And that's what we saw, that when we started the Construction World Architect and Builder Awards, and year after year, as we saw more and more companies undertaking the kind of effort to nominate themselves, the jury actually going through their nominations, we saw that the quality of nominations that came about were getting much more clearer, detailed, and there was need for those people to be actually exhibiting, giving all the details to win the award. So these 25 years have been transformational, and I think today we know that builders like Godrej Properties, Oberoi Realty, Soba, Prestige, DLF, the ones who are listed on the stock market, and those that have to adhere to the market norms of governance, command a good value of their companies. So it's not just the value of real estate, it's now the value of the company, the value of the brand, and it has become even more evident during these times of the pandemic, when people had to decide to choose whom they can trust. And that's where market shares have actually have been altered. Those that had stronger brands were able to pull greater market share in every possible category of business. And real estate too had a similar journey. Today, I think the elephant in the room is the cost challenge. For the real estate sector, for the construction sector, costs have just spiraled up. They are actually hurting the industry, so much so that even though there is not such a great, strong, powering demand, real estate sector is still thinking whether they need to raise prices in order to pass on input costs. So we had events on steel, we had events on cement, right in December and February, and we can tell you that those sectors obviously are following the commodity cycle and their prices have gone up by a minimum of 50%. These two commodities apart, you've got labor costs that have again gone up. And difficult to get skilled labor, the difficulty in getting skilled labor has become even more intense. And now, obviously, there is a price to everything that you desire in its pure productivity and efficiency, and that price has gone even steeper. The good news is that the government is committed to building infrastructure. The government is committed to building affordable housing. People have realized the value of homes, and now a lot of business, lot of education, and lot of other social engagements happen from homes. So homes have got suddenly re-rated in the minds of people. And as we will see in the presentation, people's beliefs in larger homes has risen. Our Construction World Architect and Builder Awards National takes place in August, and nominations will soon open, and that would be something that I would encourage those who are interested in doing. We also, in August, simultaneously hold the Smart Urbanation Show and First Construction Council, which is the infrastructure think tank which creates the research and the policy advocacy, promotes all this. So let me now share with you some details on what's happening on the real estate market. Some of the covers during this journey of 25 years, but these are of course more recent, even during the pandemic. So our digital sales really picked up, 2.5 lakh monthly visits now on our website, and all social media channels have really grown. We also have this WhatsApp service. It's a free service. Maybe you take a picture of this phone number. All you need to do is give a missed call here and save it and send a message, and you start getting construction news on your WhatsApp. This is the CW Gold service which we provide. It's a premium service on our website which gives project updates, contracts awarded, and such other premium business information. Okay, so over to Delhi NCR. Our knowledge partner is housing.com, and courtesy them we have these figures. So sales and new supply, we are talking residential. If you go to see new supply and sales, Delhi NCR has been pretty low. You can see the bars in Mumbai right up there, 43,380, 58,560, and look at Delhi NCR. You've got sales of 17,910 and a new supply also 13,370. So sales and new supply in Delhi surpassed bottomed out 2020 levels. Let's go over to sales now. Are we seeing any pickup? So last quarter of 21, we can see it's similar to quarter 3, which is slightly up from quarter 2. So I think quarter 3 and quarter 4 have slightly picked up towards the end, and let's hope that trend continues. So we've come all the way from here, quarter 1 19. Just to remind you, quarter 1 20 was when COVID happened. So you see the fall of 10,690 getting halved and then falling to virtually 10% of what it was, or 20%. Okay, now what kind of project in terms of price point? You see there's a good growth over 2020 in the more than 1 crore category. It's growing by 24%. And yeah, I think that's the largest category that's growing. While earlier in 2020 we had 44% growth in the less than 25 lakh category. That would be obviously affordable. Housing was much more. Okay, 3-bedroom hall size, I referred to that, the higher, bigger size apartments are actually, if you can see, 31% in 2020 versus 39% of sales, percentage of sales which are coming from 3 BHK. And 52% was 2 BHK, which is now 45%. So there's a slight shift from 2 BHKs to 3 BHKs. Although the sales figure, if you go to see, are just about similar. So there's a little difference in composition mix. You can see 4 BHK, 7%, now it's 11%. So again, a similar trend. Okay, which areas? Split of sales, so Gurgaon, 37%. Although it had a much larger, again, it continues to lead in that sense. And Noida and Greater Noida are roughly around the same, equal levels. They are second to Gurgaon. New supply. Okay, so we see new supply coming in Q4 of 21. So that's good, new business coming up. So there we can see slight upturn. We also saw in sales. So I think we have a long way to go to catch up with what we were before pandemic. But yeah, new supplies picked up. And new supply increases in share under 1 crore price bracket as well. So yeah, 45% under 25 lakh, 20% over 1 crore. And in the new supply again, 3 BHK is more in terms of, obviously people have realized this and therefore there's more availability of 3 BHKs there, even 4 BHKs, and slightly lesser in 2 BHKs. Now that's a shift. Again, city-wise, where is the supply coming more? Previously in 2020, 81% came in Gurgaon, 81%. Now 57%, so that means the supply has got diverted into Noida and Greater Noida, which wasn't the case earlier. So that's where the new supply is coming up more. Price trends. So if you see the weighted average price across all areas, we are seeing a slight gradual uphill kind of a curve, which is good. This is average. So you can see on the other side the table with the range of prices in different places. Unsold inventory. Okay, it's roughly the same. 1,06,000 units is now 1,02,000 units. So still, I think because new supply is not as much, sales need to pick up, old inventory needs to get exhausted, and then new supply, and then that's when we will see the price curve go further up. This is in summary what we are saying. So the construction, coming back to Construction World Design Build event, we are going to various other cities as well. Next stop, Hyderabad, Pune, Calcutta. And so anybody interested, please contact our people from ASAP. Finally, would like to also tell you that ASAP has brought out several videos on projects, on builders, on real estate, on projects like Statue of Unity, Coastal Road Project, the Trans-Harbour Link coming up, like the government is pushing hard on infrastructure. We cover a lot of these stories of projects on videos. And some of the videos you will see during this program. And we'll be happy to talk to you anything about creating such videos for your organization or for your projects. With that, I now ask you to put your hands together for the winners that are going to be felicitated in this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Patode. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for him once again. Thank you for taking us through that beautiful journey of construction world. 25 glorious years and going so very strong. You did take us through those special covers, those special moments that are so close to our hearts. And of course, also shared a lot about how is the real estate market really working? So a lot has changed in the last couple of years for us. People now consider work from home very, very seriously. The need to have bigger spaces, larger spaces, which means a lot many more opportunities for us in the construction world. And that is exactly what we'll be discussing today when we introduce our panel a little later. For now, may I please request all of you to put your hands together as I request the kind presence of our keynote speaker, Mr. Sanjay Seth, Senior Director, Sustainable Habitat, TERI, Chief Executive Officer, Griha Council, to join us on stage. He comes with an experience of almost 3 decades in the power sector, of which the last 9 have been on the demand side. A round of applause for the man who is a veteran from the industry.
Thank you very much for those kind words and the introductions. Ladies and gentlemen, I think at the outset, let me congratulate Mr. Pratap Patode and his team for putting this event together, as well as congratulations to you for completing 25 years of construction world. So I think amidst the stories that we've been going through in the last 2 years, it's very heartening to see something positive coming out. I'm very glad to be here, first of all, speaking to the construction industry, the people who really manage the real estate sector. I, of course, would be talking about more on the demand side management and resource efficiency and greening and all of that. And I know that the platform that is provided to me today is the right platform to be reaching out to you guys. And with the trends that Mr. Pratap shared, I'm sure that the ante is really going to be going up. So let me begin with how we've really seen the past couple of years. 2019, we all know what we went through. We are standing before you. Some of us really had been through some not very good, aspects of the pandemic. Some of them affected us all badly. But with the pandemic, we also saw a lot of economic disruption around the world, and the crash, I think, served as an eye-opener for the climate-conscious businesses. In 2020, the global carbon dioxide emissions, we also saw that they really came down drastically. And I think we all were privy to some of those pictures being shared on WhatsApp and on the newsprint as well as on news channels on what really blue skies are and how the waterways and how water bodies really were. And this gave a ray of hope in preventing a climate disaster. The most awaited event of 2021, COP26, further emphasized the urgency on curbing carbon emissions, which otherwise could become an irreversible change. Hence, a greener recovery significantly enhances the resilience of economies and societies in the face of severe climate change and accelerating economic challenges. Post the pandemic, the world aims to transition to a green economy, ensuring economic reforms that are green, fair, and inclusive. And if you look at what the United Nations Environment Program also said was, let's build back better. That was the theme on which every country is encouraged to work on. Countries have begun implementing a range of expansionary fiscal and monetary measures to combat the same. We ourselves saw our Honorable Prime Minister committing to the world community at the COP26 towards green economy, which was condensed to a 5-point agenda, and that is to reduce emissions by 1 billion tons, to reduce emission intensity of the GDP by 45% by 2030, and to increase the non-fossil energy capacity to 500 gigawatts, to ensure renewables as half of its energy source, and finally, up the ante to net zero by 2070. That was the 5 pillars on which we really moved and we committed ourselves at the COP26. We also saw some of the greatest initiatives being taken by India, such as the One Sun, One World and One Grid. And this was, of course, an example of our international collaborative efforts to combat climate change. The mission aims at creating a worldwide grid network where renewable energy can be transferred anywhere, anytime from one part of the world to other, minimizing the need for storage and maximizing solar energy potential. By 2030, the Indian real estate sector is expected, and I think we saw how the markets are really going to grow, and the predictions are that the size of $1 trillion with its expected contribution to the country's GDP to be increased to by about 13% by 2025. New constructions are in demand, and as the country faces large deficit, especially in the urban housing segment, which is a gaping challenge for the country. The residential and commercial buildings in India account for about, as we know that I think they are the biggest consumers, both in terms of energy, electricity consumption, and also in terms of emissions. So the recent report by IFC highlights that the investment potential in green buildings, and that is what I'm going to be really stressing on, is about $1.4 trillion in India alone. So that's where I think the real opportunity lies for all of us. And there is obviously a huge amount of potential for architects, engineers and contractors, our built environment professionals, to implement the end goal of comfortable net zero water, net zero energy, net zero carbon buildings for everyone. And with the commitments that have been made at the global level, when we are looking at carbon neutral development by 2070, obviously each one of us really need to play a role, and a role which is significantly high. Let me put our focus on green infrastructure and green buildings. So I think for the last couple of years, we've all been, and I see many people in the room who have worked together towards pushing green buildings within the real estate sector. But unfortunately, for reasons which are a combination of first cost uniqueness, maybe the lack of capacities, both in terms of information availability, professionals, information availability in terms of where does one source green buildings, all of those, it's a combination of all such things. And the markets have really not grown to the extent, and they've remained stunted. And that's where I think the larger focus is what we need to deliberate. And I'm sure that the panels are going to be discussing this in the later part of this evening. So when we talk of energy efficient buildings and green buildings, I think comfortable environments for their occupants, I think really becomes the key words. And all of it can really be integrated within the design, and thereafter, once they start getting operated, keeping the location, and considering that India is a very diverse kind of a country where we have different climatic zones, keeping the local scenarios in mind and climate conscious design, I think that really is very, very important. So, a combination of passive strategies together with the active strategies in terms of energy efficient appliances and equipments when the buildings go into operations, and then of course looking at a combination of course of all of these with the overall objective of affordable cost, because that is where I think we kind of miss the bus, that when it comes to affordability and when it comes to the cost effectiveness, that's where the impediments really take place. So, to offset the the excess demand of energy for such buildings, renewable energy systems obviously get integrated within the design systems. But if you have already passive design strategies and energy efficiency in terms of its operations, I think the optimization of renewable integration really becomes very cost effective. To reduce the energy demand, boundary conditions of the building systems and the constraints affecting the building performance, I think that really becomes the starting point from an integrated design approach, which involves both a careful selection of materials and components and a complete set of installations to ultimately realize a very high performance building. Going back to the roots and using the vernacular principles of the location, such as the right orientation, locally sourced materials, cross ventilation, high thermal capacity walls, eventually help you to achieve not only energy efficiency, but also a high degree of comfort, the thermohygrometric comforts. Correct interpretation of building codes, and I think the frameworks as far as the regulations are concerned by the government have already been put in place. It's just an effort to be understanding and utilizing it in the built environment by our professionals, and I'm sure that the rating agencies, one of which I represent today, and there are other agencies, mainly representing the US Green Building Council and other rating agencies, I think they play a very key role in really making sure that the interpretation of these building codes and their integration into the built environment at the time of constructions and post-construction during the operation really becomes something which is not only evaluated in terms of its effectiveness and also the impacts that it really brings forth. We've been also now moving towards a net zero energy building configuration, which is obviously optimized by the combination of insulation, air tightness, appliances with the highest levels of efficiencies, home energy management systems together with photovoltaics, and then we see a substantive reduction in the energy consumptions. But eventually, I think the key to all of this lies with the end consumers, because they are, I think, the people who really drive the markets. And unless and until, I have always been saying that unless and until the consumers don't demand for green, none of the real estate developers or the architects or built environment professionals would really be able to deliver. And despite the fact that we know that it's a win-win situation and eventually the end user really benefits out of it in terms of reduced operating costs, there is somehow a hesitation for really, demanding for such green growth and green buildings. And the reasons could be the first cost uniqueness, as I said, capacities, both in terms of where am I really going to be sourcing green building material. So I remember just before the beginning of this session, I was speaking to the first, I think, the warehouse which provides all your building material needs, and that is the Hippo, which has been set up by Supermart, that has been set up by Dalmia. I think that's a very good way of ensuring that people get the confidence into green products. Where does one need to really source it? And thereafter, I think life becomes much simpler. And I would really urge upon them to probably introduce a green section for materials, and we could think of ways of helping them to put it together so that there is a greater amount of confidence both in the professionals who are really kind of helping the consumers to go ahead with green constructions, as well as the consumers to where does one source it. So I think that's the gap which needs to be bridged. Technology accreditation validation are again something which are major constraints, and we know that construction is a very dynamic industry. So obviously wherever there are new technologies and new materials being introduced, one needs to really go ahead and find that where do we really get validated and credible information up in the market. So further, the building professionals and developers continue to be unaware and misinformed regarding the urgency of adoption of ingredients of eco-focused, climate-smart design, innovation in the use of sustainable, locally sourced materials, ensuring reduced waste, and practicing water conservation as well as benefits of recycling and refurbishment. Further, I think the inability to interpret the building codes efficiently is something which we really need to work on so that the deterrent that is really associated with it is obviated. India has developed building energy efficiency policies for the last 15 years, and it is yet to really, we've not been able to really find traction. I think building codes for the first time were introduced in 2007, and yet here we are again discussing these on platforms such as these, whether really we need to go on a mandatory phase or should we leave it on a voluntary phase. And despite these regulations being in place, there are only about 13 or 14 states which have adopted them, with very few having a framework for its implementation with compliance programs, as well as integrating it into the bylaws and all of that. So I think we still need to continue to probably discuss whether a mandatory regime or a voluntary regime, what kind of penalties. We've already seen some of the states introducing FAR incentives being rolled out, especially to green rating agencies and all of that. So I think that's a good way to start. But of course, the question remains that the demand and supply, the equilibrium of demand and supply will always dictate the market dynamics, and unless the user demands to go green, the markets will not deliver green. The onus lies with us, architects and engineers, building professionals, material suppliers, to educate the people on the benefits of green buildings and sustainable cities. The key is to aspire, but not to aspire, but to demand. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Seth. And like you mentioned, now's the time that we really need to shift gears towards a green economy. And all of us sitting right here are stakeholders in the ecosystem that can really make it happen. Yes, we can create structures using processes which are environmentally responsible and resource efficient through a building's life cycle, work towards solution that can make it so much better into creating this more safer place for our future, and of course a vision to make the planet more sustainable. As we now discuss a lot that's happening in the real estate market, especially when it comes to Delhi NCR, I'm now going to be welcoming on stage our panelists who bring with them their experience. So this is really going to be a platform where there will be a lot of knowledge sharing, and we'd love to have an open house. So all of you are welcome to share your comments, ask questions, a lot of that, because we want this to be very interactive. But before I introduce our panel, I'd like to share with all of you about LAP India. So can we please have the AV?
India is one of the fastest growing economies in the world, and LAP is working at the heart of this economic success. LAP India is a wholly owned subsidiary of LAP Group, the leading supplier of integrated solutions and branded products in the field of cable and connection technology in India. Headquartered in Stuttgart, Germany, our success story started 60 years ago with the invention of the multi-core cable Uflex by Mr. Oscar Lapp. Founded in 1957, LAP has remained a family-owned company and has grown to become a global player with over 3,700 employees operating in 152 countries across the world. Realizing the potential of the Indian market, the LAP Group set up a manufacturing facility in Bangalore in 1998. In Bangalore, we manufacture highly engineered cables to meet the increasingly complex requirements of the growing Indian market. In 2012, we inaugurated our second manufacturing facility in Bhopal, producing single-core wires for India's fast-expanding building sector. Now, the Bhopal factory also produces multi-core cables, cutting down delivery lead time to meet customer needs. Today, LAP India is the largest operation outside of Germany, manufacturing 200,000 kilometers of cable in 2018, its length enough to surround the Earth 5 times. We are the first cable manufacturer in India to implement advanced planning optimization. The automatic sequencing of production ensures on-time delivery, predictable and reliable. Our customers are important to us, and so is the environment. As part of our commitment of caring for and protecting the environment, both our plants are RoHS certified. Our innovations define the industry standards. LAP is a one-stop solution provider for all your electrotechnical requirements. We have over 40,000 products. Our 8 strong brands are Aflex, Unitronic, Etherline, Hytronic, Epic, Skintop, Sylvine and Fleximark. In our fully fledged Innovation and Engineering Centre and state-of-the-art laboratory, we design, develop, manufacture and test products made in India for India. As a cable and technology expert, we established centres of excellence at reputed engineering institutes across India to promote innovation and encourage young minds towards research and development. To add value to our customers, we also offer Aflex Connect, the customised cable assembly solutions, ranging from cables or custom servo assemblies to complex drag chain applications. Closer is better. We aim for proximity to markets and customers. Thanks to our multiple fulfillment centres, service points with Aflex Connect, and a strong network of channel partners, our products are there where you need them. Our 24/7 online shopping portal makes ordering even easier at the click of a button. India's growth is fueled by key industry segments. LAP products are globally certified and approved to meet the industry requirements. Trusted by India's leading organisations, LAP is the cable and connection technology supplier of choice and reliable partner for the future. In 2018, we are serving over 7,000 customers with a track record of double-digit annual growth. That is why we keep investing in our manufacturing facilities at Bangalore and Bhopal. Thanks to the trust and collaboration of our customers, partners, employees and stakeholders, we are helping to contribute to the country's sustainable growth, laying the foundation for a better tomorrow. Together, reliably connecting India and the world.
Reliably connecting India and the world. That was about LAP India. You're welcome to connect and meet the team. They'll be available in the pre-function area at LAP's booth. As we now look forward to our first panel discussion on what next in real estate market of Delhi, may I please request all of you to put your hands together for our moderator, Mr. Taha Ansari, Managing Director, Project Manager, Colliers. I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to him. He comes with an experience of over 3 decades in real estate industry and has delivered marquee projects such as Select City Walk New Delhi, Medicity Hospital, amongst many others. We welcome you, sir. May I request you to please take a seat as I extend a very warm welcome to our esteemed panelists. We have with us Ms. Mili Majumdar, Managing Director, GBCI and Senior Vice President, US Green Building Council, who comes with over 2 decades of experience in developing a new portfolio of projects on design and viable business models for climate resilient housing. We extend a very warm welcome to you, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us. May I also present to you Mr. Ashwini Avasthi, Managing Director, RICS. He comes with an experience for almost 3 decades in driving established businesses or new setups to the pinnacle of business development and operational excellence. We are so very thankful that you could join us today. Let us also put our hands together for Mr. Nirbhig Bhera, Executive Director, Project Management Service, joining us with over 20 years of experience in project management. He made the journey from a design architect to a project manager at New York's full-term service architectural firm. We extend a very warm welcome to you. May I request all of you to please put your hands together as I invite Mr. Tarun Bhatia, President, National Association of Realtors, and a partner at Chalu Agency's real estate consultancy firm in existence. Again, he is here to share 3 decades of experience with us. We thank you for joining us. May I now present to you Mr. Gaurav Sarkar, LAP India, with over 15 years of experience in sales and marketing in techni-commercial positions. He's joining us here on stage as we look forward to 40 minutes of intense discussion time. And after that, we'd love to have some interaction from the audience. So let me now hand over to Mr. Ansari. Sir, all yours.
Hello. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. And I'm thankful to Construction World for giving me this opportunity to moderate along with prominent experts. Delhi NCR real estate market has grown up in a rampant pace over the last decade and boasts the presence of many Fortune 500 companies. There is an ample opportunity in segments such as office, residential, industrial and logistics, and emerging asset class such as data center and life science in Delhi NCR. After the second wave of COVID-19, the latter half of 2021 began on a brighter note with a resurgence in home market sentiment. The resurgence in home sales was spurred by lower stamp duty, historically low home loan rates. To boost this realty sentiment, the Finance Minister announced a budget of 6 lakhs crore to redevelop 7 residential colonies in Delhi. In 2021, Delhi NCR led industrial and logistic leasing with total leasing of 6.5 million square feet, of almost 30% of the deal activity across top 5 cities in India. Delhi NCR office market recorded gross leasing at 6.3 million square feet in 2021, growing at 50% year-on-year, indicating a clear revival in occupier confidence. While we are very happy to know that there is so much developments happening in Delhi NCR, but this construction industry is also emitting almost 24% of carbon, and it consumes almost 40% of energy. Like in 2030, there are almost 70% of real estate buildings has to be built. So much of amount of construction to be done, so much energy is going to consume, and the kind of green carbon dioxide emission it's going to do. We have to see how we are going to, what we are going to provide for our next generation. So my first question is regarding green, and it's also regarding environment, social governance. I have this question for Millie. Talking of new initiatives and innovation, green buildings are the logical way forward for our construction industry. How is Delhi NCR real estate industry positioned?
Thank you very much, Mr. Ansari, for the question, and a very warm welcome. And thanks, Mr. Padore, for inviting me for this wonderful session. And congratulations, on all the efforts that you have taken to mainstream sustainability in the construction sector. In order to respond to this question, I think, I'll try to break it down into some small parts, because we talk about green or sustainable as one word, but essentially it's an aggregation of many concepts together. And whenever we try to have green interventions in buildings, again, it is some kind of a response that we have to the needs of the environment, need for what we need to do in order to save ourselves as well as the planet, and to save, precious resources such as energy, water, etc. And these are very context specific. So when we are talking about the NCR region, there are some, specific challenges and problems that NCR faces on a regular basis. And all of us who stay here, we know that it's one of the most polluted cities. We get choked, especially post-Diwali during early winters because of the natural geography. as well as, humongous amount of transportation, construction activities that take place here. The other challenge that we face is that because of the immense, and we are in a composite climate, so which means that we have extreme summers, we have extreme winters. So due to immense amount of, demand for energy, there are times within both the seasons where the peak load goes above the roof, and hence there is a challenge. We have huge amount of solid waste that comes out of houses, industries, etc. Effluent that goes and pollutes the Yamuna, as well as immense amount of flooding, which happens in the surrounding regions, particularly Gurgaon, which brings life to a standstill. So these are some of the problems, and how we respond to that is essentially what we talk in a green building. So green, according to me, is not a, a fancy thing to do or a good to do. It is a requirement if we have to save ourselves from pollution, save ourselves from the flooding and, not being able to reach our workplaces, or save patients trying to reach hospitals, and save our children, etc. So when we are talking about green interventions in NCR, there are many things which at a policy level government is trying to do. Say in terms of, introducing the solar policy on rooftop for doing this peak load shaving, as well as supplement the energy, conventional energy. Then providing for, say, transit-oriented development for several spaces, the Delhi Metro, being one of the main spine of Delhi, and trying to take away from the transportation kind of energy use, as well as from the pollution. Construction being stopped during the peak times when the pollution hits, and trying to save people. Rainwater harvesting being mandated and hence being integrated as part of all new construction. And also like penalizing housing societies, etc., for not doing so. So at a city level, at NCR level, as well as in Gurgaon, there are initiatives that are taken to be able to reduce, this stormwater flooding, etc., through different management practices as well as green infrastructure. So I would say at a macro urban level, there are these initiatives, but much more needs to be done. Now shifting, a little bit at the micro level, when we talk about real estate and green, then we have to consider these two different kind of, sectors. One is the commercial and the other is the residential. Residential, obviously, we have heard and we'll hear more how the developers are trying to, meet it. But if you ask me, I think most of the developers, try to, because I have been part of the Environment Clearance Committee for several years, and I know that, there is a lot of greenwashing that happens. There is a lot of things that is on paper and it does not get translated to practice, because I feel also there is no consumer demand. Like people who are going out and staying in the houses, they really don't know what is the benefit of green. But if you really look from the perspective I said in the beginning, then I think there is much more value in green, which the consumers should understand. And the last thing what I would say, on the commercial side, we are finding that more and more, particularly the MNCs as well as government buildings, they are trying to make green construction because they also see a definite value in doing green, because they are reaping the benefits themselves, say in terms of saving money by saving energy, saving water, saving, providing a better indoor environmental quality, etc. So there we see that in the commercial real estate, there is much more demand. And the other final thing is that the new generation, and particular post-COVID, people have become very conscious of the indoor environment and the air quality, health and productivity of people. And all these things can be contributed to by green. So when the office goer is demanding green, then the employer has no other opportunity rather than, not meeting that requirement. So there we really see a lot of push and a lot of things happening. But I'm an eternal optimist. I think, more will happen. But I thought I'll put it in overall context, because we talk about, green quote unquote as one concept. So there are many facets to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have a question for Gaurav now. How are developers catering to occupier expectations? Are developer owners looking at retrofitting, refurbishing old buildings to cater to evolving expectation of occupiers on health, safety, and sustainability front. Do you think the trend will pick up in the coming year as ESG reporting becomes pivotal for investors and occupiers alike?
Thank you very much, sir, for your question. Good evening, everyone. My name is Gaurav Sarkar. And first of all, thank you very much for giving this opportunity to me to share my experience with all of you. So coming to the occupier expectation, see, a pandemic has completely changed the way how people occupy space today. Now, I'm sure all of us would here agree that it has forced almost all businesses across the world to really rethink on the role of a physical office. Now, this pressure of continuously not having sales, especially by the commercial real estate segment, of having unsold inventories, is putting up a lot of pressure on them. Now, if we have to come out of this pressure, we have to really understand what the actual consumer or the occupier demands are. So, which today is what I feel is to have a flexible workplace. So now it is not the concept that you have to only work from home or you have to only work from office. Rather, it has to be a mix of both, where you can have a more a flexible approach of building a hybrid model, a hybrid world, where you get all the amenities that you aspire to have from an employer. So, at the same time, we also see there's a paradigm shift in communicating more and commuting less. So this is another demand which most of us, I'm sure here out would be having from our employees. So the real estate, the challenge that they have as developers is how they can integrate all these demands into their buildings. And like you said, the refurbishment and retrofitting activities, especially near the residential colonies, is picking up, because this is where they can people can commute less but still have a balanced mix of both good workplace, a 50% workplace and a 50% home. So that's what is the trend which is going on. And of course, they have to be addressed with all the wellness standards of the new design concepts which is coming up in the industry. So that, of course, the real estate has to implement in those buildings. Coming to the ESG. So I think today the general sense of having an urgency to meet the climate change which is happening around us, and implementing the ESR measures is very intensifying. It is no more on the papers anymore as a marketing gimmick or a marketing concept. In practicality also, we see a lot of things happening on the ground, slowly but steadily, but yes, it is picking up. Investors have understood what is the long-term benefit they can fetch out of implementing these things into their projects. So, so the only challenge what I see that real estate developers have in place is how they can deliver to the promises on this front, without breaking much into their banks, which of course, since you are implementing, so it will be a big challenge on the cost front. Yeah.
Thank you. I have a question for Mr. Ashwani. While we are talking on the energy, how we can improve how we can shift it to solar, wind, hydro. Solar came up with a lot of potential about years ago, but I don't think it has grown so fast. So how we can improve on that? Solar, wind, hydro, all this.
Thank you, Mr. Ansari, and good evening, everyone, and thank you, Construction World, for this opportunity. So, well, you're very right, but before that, when we talk about renewable energy or solar energy, we need to understand, while we all know that energy is very, very important for economic development, and a continuous supply of energy is key to it. So today when we look at India, right, unfortunately when we are talking about net zero or we're talking about renewable energy, India still is dependent on about 70% of its requirement on a coal-fired thermal plants, basically as far as the energy requirement is concerned. So we need to quickly shift into more cleaner energy, and solar is one of that. And I would like to compliment the current government in this, because maybe about 10 years back or in 2014, we were still in single digits as far as the renewable energy contribution is concerned, which we are currently almost close to 26% now. See, sun is in abundance in India, and that's how maybe the whole solar energy concept would have come in. But the biggest challenge I feel here, while the government has set up a very optimistic target for itself of like generating about 280 gigawatts by 2030, but the biggest challenge, I think so, why it is the takeoff is so slow, almost 80% of the solar components that we use are being imported. So that is causing a major delay in the offtake of the plants, while recently the government has realized this and they are incentivizing domestic players into it. But I feel it will take some time. It will take some time for the production domestically to meet up the requirements what are there. Alternatively, we are also looking at, like we look at the wind energy. Definitely, wind is not maybe as cost effective and also has certain challenges here in India, where the availability of wind is only in certain parts of the year, and also basically when we look at the regions from the country's perspective, there are very limited regions where you can install the wind turbines. So when we talk about maybe a contribution to a renewable energy now, so what we have to fall back upon is the hydroelectric. So at the moment, again, that has been one of the key source, but it has also been has a lot of untapped potential. Currently, when we look at the numbers, India has a potential of about 150,000 megawatts, which it can generate, but the current production levels are only about 46,000 megawatts. So there's a huge gap which is there, which can be bridged. But again, it needs certain reforms, it needs certain changes. One of the bigger ones being, again, hydroelectric plants. We know wherever they are set up, these projects have an impact on the environment, and the delayed environmental clearances are also kind of causing challenges over there. And one of the other key challenge that is being faced in seeing the hydroelectric come up is, unfortunately, the water and water-based power, they still continue to be the state subject, right? So they need to be brought in the current concurrent list like the rest of the electricity is. We have all seen in the past that the way disputes between the states have delayed all these projects, and we've not been able to achieve what is being desired. So I think so that is very important for having a uniform policy and also to avoid any such kind of disputes and delays in the project, to have that in concurrent list. So I think so that is the way forward at the moment. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. My question to Millie is, how is the real sector catering to environmental aspect of ESG? I will come to you in all. I have this question for Millie. Can you repeat it? How is the real sector catering to environmental aspects of ESG?
Yeah, so, ESG is environment, social, and the governance aspect. And nowadays we do see that there is a lot of reporting requirements from the holistic perspective. Like when you are talking about sustainability, it is not only you look at green measures in terms of the energy efficiency, water efficiency, solid waste management, so on and so forth. You also have to be equally responsible for the social aspects. I do see the real estate, again, if I split it on the supply side, that is on the construction side, there are responsible developers who are taking care of the laborers on site and providing, equitable environment for both men and women to work, avoiding child labor, providing safe environment for labor to, function, safety, etc. Lot of initiatives being taken on the social side, as well as at the neighborhood level also, there is a lot of initiatives that are happening to have a more cohesive society. We have been thrown out of gear when the pandemic hit us. So we realize now the benefit of social cohesion and, connected communities, walkable communities, etc. certainly provide us that kind of opportunities also to imbibe, more social cohesion. So there is a lot of focus on that, as well as, health, well-being and other aspects. And I feel on the governance side, again, because of the regulations, RERA, etc., so there is a lot of transparency in the process, and governance-wise also the sector is now much more geared to provide more transparencies, both on the sales side, on the, finishing date of the project, handover, quality, etc. So the regulatory environment does require developers to be much more sensitive to this. So I believe, on a holistic way this is happening. But if you really look at the ESG space, in terms of the reporting requirements, there is like a chaos now. Like there are so many initiatives like GRI, the CDP, in US you have the science-based target, etc. So multiple. So still, I guess, in this whole cacophony of things, it will take some more time for people to realize what exactly they need to do. But yes, we are getting there.
Anybody can take up this question. Actually, when I went to Australia for something, I was surprised to see that the gender equality, male, female, well, 50-50%. But even today on this stage, as well as I don't see the gender equality. It's like in India has to go a long way. So, Avastiji, you would like to say something on this? How, when we can improve on this? Like you said the other day, maybe right from the schools, academia, you will have to improve.
Yes, so this I think so. Like we talk about even when we were discussing about the skills bit as well. So we say that we are kind of, when we look at the overall pot, right, or the sphere from where we can basically take a dip and get people or get resources for the sector to kind of help. I think so we are shrinking that. We as it is, because of lack of attractiveness of the profession to attract female kind of professionals. So we are, as it is, shrinking the whole pot there, right? So what we need to do here is, I think so, and while it's not there only in India, well, you may have seen that in Australia, but world over, construction real estate sector doesn't see as many female professionals as we see in some of the other sectors. But definitely, the education can definitely help, more awareness, and all this need to come, as Millie rightly pointed out, from the formative years. Basically, we need to kind of educate people on that and make them kind of, understand the whole concept of coming into this profession. So that's what I would like to say.
Thanks. I have a question for Gaurav again, then I will move to the other gentleman.
Yeah.
Many developers and investors have taken the leads to convert industrial and logistic portfolio green. What is the scope for sustainable development in industrial and logistics sector?
I think Mr. Sanjay sir recently told that no, India has a goal to achieve by 2020 to be a carbon neutral country. So I think no, the desire or demand for having a green industrial premise or a factory premise is the need of the hour now. And most of the occupiers now would mainly look for 3-4 things when as a manufacturer you enter a premise. How is, and this is more prominent when you look at the warehousing industries. They mainly look for how is the heating, cooling, and the lighting. So these are the major 3 factors which are dominating the energy efficiency for the premise to be occupied. So I think developers have understood these aspects, and now they are incorporating a lot of changes in their designs, in their raw materials that they purchase. Say, like for example, the walls are specially designed with special coated insulated walls which allow you to absorb the heat inside, and it doesn't allow from outside to inside and inside to outside both ways. That's one aspect. Rooftop solar plants again are coming up in a great way. If there's a space constraint, sometimes we have also seen that developers provide a centralized solar plant which can feed to all the industries in that premise. BIPV, another important, building integrated photovoltaics, is picking up, wherein you install the photovoltaics on the vertical walls, which again help you in generating a lot of solar energy for yourself. One more concept which is picking up very well in the industry is about the open access of buying solar power from private power producers, wherein there is a dedicated different line. You buy that to compensate for your carbon credit. So if we as manufacturers from the electrical side, we also have to see, and we'll share our experience. Both our manufacturing plants, both at Bhopal and Bangalore, 80% of the captive power requirement of both these plants is sufficed by the in-house solar requirement plus the open access from the solar PPPs that we buy from. So this is how I think most of the people are adopting it, and it is now as an inertia from the users, from the developers, from people who have understood that ESG is the way to go ahead, and green is the only way we can address to the climate change problems that we are facing today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question for Mr. Tarun. How has Delhi NCR real estate market evolved over the past year, and what is the future?
Thank you, Mr. Ansari, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tarun Bhatia. I am the current president of NAR India, which is the Association of Realtors in this country, and congratulations to the Construction World team for this amazing event. See, Delhi real estate sector, Delhi NCR has been a mixed bag for quite some time. There have been a lot of successes, a lot of failures. A lot of people have prospered. A lot of people have burnt their, they have lost their hard-earned money. In fact, the sentiment in the country is that RERA in India was bought only to control the Delhi NCR developers. Because at one time, there was a total mayhem. Promises were being made without even buying the land. And a lot of people, a lot of unwanted elements were in this industry. But over the last 4-5 years, a lot has changed. The A-grade developers like DLF have redefined the Delhi NCR market. In fact, their products today, I can say, are one of the best in the world. Some of the products in Gurgaon, if you are, privy to their projects, the high-end ones, they are definitely one of the best in the country, if not the world. Delhi is blessed with a great infrastructure, being the Rajdhani of this country. We have a fabulous airport, 3 terminals, in fact. The road network has been improving steadily, although the traffic has been overtaking that, but still the infrastructure is one of the better ones in this country. Not only that, the Delhi Metro has made a big difference to the real estate sector. Wherever Delhi Metro has been, the real estate scenario has changed. I just have a difference of opinion on the data which was shared earlier. I was going through the slides, and in one of them, I think housing.com has mentioned that in Delhi NCR in the last quarter 4 of 2021, only 4,000 units were sold. That is what the data I saw, but I don't think that is the correct data because in Gurgaon, in 2 projects, the sales were more than 5,000 units sold in the month of November and December. So I don't know what that data input has been, and that is only Gurgaon 2 projects. So if you accumulate the data of the other projects and add the data of Noida, Greater Noida, Ghaziabad, that data must be at least, the figures must be at least 10 times what was displayed in that presentation. Apart from that, so the future looks very, very good because the pandemic has made everyone realize the importance of their own home. When people were in the lockdown in their homes, it gave them time to ponder over what kind of houses they need, what is the kind of life they want to lead. Plus, what has happened is due to the pandemic, a lot of people have bought in there. We have a lot of people working outside of, working in Delhi NCR, but not from Delhi NCR. So a lot of them have got their families now to Delhi NCR. So someone's family was in, say, Bhopal or Indore, their parents. So they have now got them to Delhi. So it has resulted in either they upgrading their existing areas. So a 3-bedroom owner has gone to a 4 has gone to a 5, or maybe plotted development, or they have bought new properties for their families to stay with them. Work from home has also, made everyone look for their own space. Now a husband is attending his call, the wife is attending her calls, the kids have to attend their school or college, sessions. So all of them want their own rooms. So that has also resulted in a demand for larger apartments. In fact, the luxury housing is doing fabulously well at the moment. We have a problem of inventory. So we have a number of inquiries for high-end luxury properties, and the supply is simply not there. One more figure about the price, weighted average price in Gurgaon, I saw it was 6,500 mentioned in that presentation, 60 to 65. I can assure you that will be the minimum entry level in Gurgaon at the moment, unless you're looking at an affordable housing. If you're looking at proper housing, I think 6,000 is the prevalent prices in the far-flung sectors of Manesar in Gurgaon. Whereas the high-end one, like maybe Camellias, is now, say, 25, 30,000 rupees a square feet. Even the golf course extension is about 10 to 14. Golf course road is 15 to 18. So definitely, there's a huge demand. There was a uptake in demand post the first wave of the pandemic in March 2020. But after the Delta variant, says last July, the markets have just gone berserk. We really don't know whether this is a phenomenon to stay or is it a pent-up demand which has resulted in this. But at the moment, in fact, our main issue is that we did not increase our teams in time. So unlike the IPCs and maybe the Savills of the world, we did not increase our teams. Otherwise, maybe the business level would have been at a different level. If our teams would also have been, increased, upgraded, trained well. So I think Delhi NCR market has a great future. Because of RERA, developers are now, I think they are more disciplined, and the consumers can, I think, look forward to quality housing and deliveries well within the time frames. So thank you.
Tarun, so do you think, like you said, we are caught off guard as far as the residential sector is concerned, as it's moving now? Do you think there is something will happen to commercial offices space next year?
Sir, it's already started. Those who are into the commercial real estate sector, over the last after these first, second wave, there was a knee-jerk reaction. A lot of companies, they left their areas or did not go ahead with whatever they had promised earlier to sign up. But over the last 3 to 4 months, we have seen a huge demand coming from some other sectors like the insurance sector, the banking sector, the e-commerce sectors. They are expanding their office footprint. The consulting sectors like the Big Four, they have downsized in terms of real estate area requirement, but the other sectors, there's a huge demand. In fact, even in a city like Gurgaon, which has good A-grade quality office spaces, at the moment, if you are looking at a prime location, the areas are not that, not many areas are available. There have been some, recently Google did not, they left that area which they had signed with Vatika 1-on-1. So that was a setback for the commercial office space. But otherwise, we are seeing a good demand coming up. Reason being, earlier, if you were, say, allotting 70 square feet or 75 square feet for per employee basis to, work out of the office, now people are planning for, because of social distancing, they have increased that area by 25%. So in case you had 100 employees and you wanted a particular area, now you are looking at 1.3x of that size. Still, a lot of MNCs are still contemplating whether to go with hybrid or, full-fledged working from the office. But I believe in case we don't get another wave of COVID, in June or July, I think by September, October, most companies will start working back from the offices. See, because cultures are made in the office. You can't make the company culture on Zoom calls. Specialty areas like R&D, research and development, you need to, sit down physically and do it. So I believe in case there is no more COVID or any other such disruptions, I think give it 6 months and we'll be back to, in fact, much higher than pre-pandemic levels. We'll have the demand for office spaces as well. Already we have seen a lot of demand coming in from retail. Companies like Reliance and Pantaloons have just gone berserk in terms of signing of spaces. Grofers and the other e-commerce companies, they are signing up. So demand is coming for warehousing, for office spaces, for retail, for data centers, huge demand coming in. I think we are in for an amazing run for Indian real estate sector in the next 2-3 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Nirbhik, this is a question for you. Implementation of RERA and monitoring of stalled residential projects by government body has improved market sentiment in NCR market. What are the main challenges facing the real sector in NCR currently?
I think, well, let me first thank CW and Rushali especially for being very persuasive. Thank you very much. I haven't been to an event of this scale probably 2 years. And very happy to be out here, very happy to be up on stage talking to all of you. I think NCR market has, courtesy RERA, it was much required. It was much required, and the kind of sales that we saw between, let's say, 2007 and 2014 was quite crazy. The nature of people who bought were very different. Now, from investor, we've moved to end user. And with RERA coming in, everybody's gotten more disciplined. But we still have a long way to go. There is so much of inventory left in the NCR market. Like if you would have seen the presentation, I think it said 6.8 years for the existing inventory to be sold at that existing pace. Mm-hmm. The other issue is that there is a lot of projects that are stalled, and for these projects to get to the finish line where it would be ready to occupy, that would take a phenomenal amount of effort, and I think that's where the government is focusing their energy, so that those projects can be monitored, they can be, funds can be infused, investors can be brought in, so that those units can be then made ready for occupancy for the people who've invested money for their homes. I think that's where the effort is. Now, the other aspect is launches have dropped. I think there was, my research tells me that Q3 of 2021, we did see some green shoots, but then Q4, those green shoots died out. And, but I think with the Omicron variant not having the kind of impact was, in a way, it will give rise to sentiments going up, and the real estate industry on the residential side will definitely again see a rise. It will get more organized, and with structured investors coming in on the commercial side, we see a very similar sentiment. I wanted to add to what Tarun was talking on the commercial side. Very interestingly, what's happening is corporates are re-looking at that portfolio. All this time has given them the opportunity to rethink on their portfolio as to how they should go about doing it. They are moving out of older buildings into newer property. So there is a demand for new property. The older buildings, the landlords who own those, they have realized this trend and they are investing money to upgrade those properties. And while upgrading, these properties could be, you know, in the 2005, 2006, 2008 year, and they are trying to get those energy ratings back. They're trying to get green energy there. They're trying to bring in sustainability there, things that were not implemented back then. So there is a certain churn that's happening, which gives us hope that there is going to be a demand, which we are seeing across the country. I'm very optimistic about that.
So I can understand DLF must be doing, they may start in Cyber City, but where else? Do you think in Connaught Place also the developers will do it?
I've been wondering all these years, why did the center of Delhi shift? It not only shifted, it went outside Delhi. I've got fond memories of Connaught Place. I've been to college in Delhi, and Connaught Place at that point was the hangout space. That's where the offices were, that's where the big buildings were. And I'm hopeful at some point it will come back. I don't know when though.
I have one more question for you in continuation to residential. Which segments are seeing maximum traction in Delhi NCR residential market? Is luxury segments and plotted development seeing increase in interest post-pandemic? Is NRI demand back now post-pandemic?
So there are two trends that are going in the market right now, not just in NCR, across the country. One is the requirement for affordable housing. So the 45 to 50 lakh ticket, that's definitely going to be there in demand. And there are a lot of developers who are focusing in that segment. The other segment that I see a lot of demand is, you know, let's say 90 lakh to 2.5 crore. That's the luxury segment where we saw a demand rising in the 3 BHK and 4 BHK. And that's typically what's going to sell. 2 BHK used to be the bread and butter. It's no longer in demand. And this is because of the pandemic. And as far as the NCR market goes, I think about 15 to 16% of the demand that we see from NRIs comes to the NCR market. The other markets which the NRIs prefer is Bangalore, Pune, and Hyderabad. But there's only about 15-16% that NCR gets, and that will largely be in the 3 BHK, 4 BHK segment.
Thank you. Tarun, so I have a question for you. Now, would you prefer to live in Camellias, or you would like to have some plotted development away from Gurgaon?
Sir, this is to each his own, you know, this is, everyone has their own lifestyle. So a lot of people would want to live in Camellias, but unfortunately it's pretty much out of reach for most Indians. But there are a lot of other products which may not be as, in that Camellias league, but a lot of very comfortable places to live with all amenities, especially in some segments of Gurgaon and Noida. Just to add to the luxury thing, in fact, like in the US market, we are facing a scenario where multiple buyers are offering for the same property. So earlier it used to be that there were multiple sellers chasing one buyer. Now, lately, there are multiple buyers chasing the same property. So unfortunately, I lost out to one of them yesterday, where my purchaser offered 8.4 crores at about 1:30, and someone offered 8.42 at about 1 o'clock. So we lost out on a transaction yesterday afternoon. So not a good day, but a very healthy sign for the real estate sector, where people are giving adequate value to real estate. In the opening address, it was mentioned that the cost of construction is going, up. In fact, a lot of developers have approached the government to intervene to bring down the prices of steel and cement. And with the current geopolitical disruptions happening, I don't see the prices coming down. So in case the land has gone expensive, the material cost is expensive, how will the cost of houses come down? It is impossible unless a developer chooses to fund the project and sell the project from his own pocket at a loss. So there's a huge demand coming in. You just saw one Camellias. I think the other developers have lined up multiple projects like Camellias, not only in Delhi NCR, but even Bangalore, the Bangalore market, the Mumbai market. A lot of luxury housing is coming in. The aspiration is always for the Camellias, but we have realized that if people know the Gurgaon project, so the guy in Pinnacle is moving to the Aralias guys are moving to the Magnolias and Camellias. So aspiration is always there. Thank you.
Mr. Ansari, I know we're running out of time, but just to put things in perspective, when Tarun mentioned prices are going up, last 12 months, we've seen steel prices, first 6 months it went up by 20%. Next 6 months it went up by 25%. So we've seen a 45% increase in steel cost and about a 20% increase in cement cost in the last 18 months. So yes, it's getting stretched.
I think we are very short of time. Otherwise, we could have spent the whole evening now. So over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Ansari. A round of applause for our moderator and our panelists. And to thank each one of you personally, may I please request the kind presence of Mr. Padode on stage once again, presenting all of you with a token of our appreciation, thanks to our gifting partner, Flebites. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for all our panelists right here. May I request Mr. Padode, please present one to each of our panelists and our moderator. Thank you so very much. It's been a pleasure listening to your views. And like Mr. Ansari said, that had it not been for the time constraint, we could have gone all evening long. And I'm sure, sir, once we get to network and connect on a more casual setting, we will have these conversations. So a lot has changed in the last couple of years, and it's all working in our favor there. So thanking each one of you for being such a spectacular part of our first panel discussion. Thank you, Ms. Majumdar. It's been a pleasure having you. And of course, our moderator, Mr. Ansari. May I request all of you to please put your hands together. Mr. Padode, may I request you to please join us for a group picture. We'd love to have all of you in the same frame. So may I request all our guests to please step forward. And let's capture those wonderful smiles. May I once again thank our gifting partner, Flebites, for the goodies. Thank you so much. I'm sure our audience had a lot many takeaways thanks to each of you. And it's now time for us to get set for our next segment. But before I invite on stage our next speaker and presenter, may I please request all of you to look towards the screen as we tell you more about Bostik. So let's have the AV, please. to tell us more about Bostik's offering, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to Mr. Nishank Srivastava, Specification Manager, North Bostik, India. A round of applause for him, please. Welcome.
So, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Construction World, for giving us the opportunity. Today, we will be taking you through the smart range of sealants and adhesive by Bostik. But prior to that, let me take you to who are we. We are the part of Arkema, a French leader in specialty materials. We did 2.1 billion euro sales in 2020. We have 6,000 employees, 4 global R&D centers. We are present worldwide in more than 50 countries. Bostik has a solution for each market. Construction and consumer, which we represent over here today, durable goods, advanced packaging, non-woven, footwear adhesive, and many more. Our expertise has been recognized by our customers throughout the world, like Best of Innovation Award in 2020, we got it. We got Product of the Year in 2019. We got 2018 Innovation Award, Performance Excellence Award, Frost & Sullivan Award, Environment Award in France. And in 2022, we got the Best Brand of Construction Chemicals in India for construction adhesive. In the sealing and bonding range, we have the sealants as well as grabs and adhesives. We have sealants for construction and facade, sanitary, glazing. We have fire-resistant sealants. We have sealants for roofs. We have sealants for garden and landscaping. And the walls and floors, we have tile fixing solutions, tile adhesives and grouts, floor preparations, screeds, underlays, overlays, soft floor adhesive, wood floor adhesives, and epoxy floorings. In waterproofing range, we have the crystalline waterproofing, cementitious acrylic, pure polyurethane coatings, and epoxy coatings. So now let me introduce the smart range of sealants. Our range of sealants are based on the new technology Flex IQ. To understand more, let me play a video for this. So if I want to summarize what is Flex IQ, Flex means the flexibility for the joint movements, application in interior and exterior, for porous and non-porous substrates, and excellent toolability. Whereas IQ means all our products in this technology are zero bubbling, they are UV resistant, they are label free, as well as non-staining. The first product in this category is the single component new generation polyurethane sealant by the name of Sealant Flex Premium P795. This product is bubble free cured. It's suitable for wider joints up to 50 mm. It can movement capability of plus minus 50%, and it is also approved as per BS 5212 and DIN 52452 for fuel, acid, and solvent resistant. This product can be used in 3 ways. It can be used in vertical areas because it is non-sec. It can be used in horizontal areas as well for runways, pedestrian walkways, pavements, as well as this product can also be used as a construction adhesive for floor trims, skirtings, and small accessories. A small video for the product. So the next product which we are going to introduce is Bostik P590 Seal and Flex 1 Plus. This product is again bubble-free curing. It is suitable for the wider joints up to 80 mm and it has an elongation of more than 1000%. This kind of a product is not available in the market. It has a movement accommodation factor of +100 and -50. Adheres perfectly well with porous and non-porous substrate even in the damp condition. Where we can use this product? We can use this product in movement, expansion, connection joints, precast, door and window joints, pedestrian walkways, pavement, main holes, and others. Because seeing is the believing, I want to showcase a small video, hardly for 14 seconds, and where we can showcase the elongation properties of this product. Can I? This one. The product does not tear, does not have any cracks, and it retains its original shape once it comes back. So that kind of a property is there with P590. The next product which we are going to introduce is in the hybrid range. This product is called Sealant Flex Facade. Product is free from isocyanate, silicone, solvents. It has MAF of plus minus 50%. We have got the brains appraisal for this product for natural weathering test up to 11 years and accelerated weatherometer UV aging test for 7,000 hours. This product comes with a lot of stringent certifications like EMI code EC1+, M1, ASTM. The product can be used in the facade joints and it's permanently elastic. Why we are saying this product is to be used in facades? Because as a tradition, if you see on the left-hand side of the screen, you will see a lot of stains on the ACP panel. This is because we are using silicone sealants, and silicone sealants tend to get stains. Whereas we have used this product on the right-hand side. If you see, we have used this product in one of the projects in Thailand, and trust me, it's more than 2 years. We have not a visible sign of staining on the ACP panels. Why? Because it has no mineral oil, less risk of staining, attracts less airborne dust. The next product which we are going to showcase is again in the hybrid technology, and it is 2-in-1 product. It can be used as a sealant as well it can be used as a bonding agent, and this is sealant bond all-in-one. The product has a tensile strength of 2 MPa, permanently elastic, again free from isocyanates and solvents, temperature resistant of minus 40 to 120 degree. This product can be used in the areas like food industry where the food is being manufactured, because we have ICE GA certification for this product. Again, this product is coming with EMI EC1+ code certification. Let me play a small video for this. Application is again the connection in pedestrian joints, construction adhesive for many building materials such as stone, concrete, plasterboard, PVC, metal, alloys, stainless steel, HPL, ACP panels and all. A small video for H550. The next product which we are going to introduce is in the grab adhesive range, which is called No More Nails Classic. This product is polystyrene safe, thixotropic, instant tech, can bond with many building materials and open time of 10 to 30 minutes. You can use this product in timber staircases, polystyrene foam, if you are going with EFIS in external facade insulation systems, ACP panel, bison boards, fixing up the mirrors in your bathrooms without the studs, countertops, acrylic to PVCs and all. Some of the references, we have done a lot of jobs in India. We have done more than 24 lakh of running meter with Air Force stations, Delhi International Airport, Hyderabad International Airport, Bangalore International Airport. In region, we are presently supplying in Philippines Airport, Baikal. We are supplying in Singapore, Thailand. This is the product which I was talking about for H725. You can see there is no visible sign of stains on the ACP panels. Then we have Indonesia, Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, Australia, New Zealand, China. For Bostik 310, the No More Nail Classic, we are supplied in Mumbai International Airport. We are supplied in Hilton, Cadbury's, Adani. Recently, we have completed some key projects in the West, like Geo Twin Tower, Marriott Nasik, Trump Towers. Now it's your turn. Thank you for your time. Stay smart. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Srivastava, for sharing more about Bostik with us. May I request you to please join us center stage and give us an opportunity to thank you for your time. And may I request the kind presence of Mr. Patodia on stage yet again to present our partner with a token of our appreciation from Flabites. Thank you so very much. It's been a pleasure listening to the offerings that Bostik has. You are more than welcome to connect with them at their booth. Of course, Mr. Srivastava is here. Thank you so much, sir. Pleasure having you on stage yet again. And this is what takes us to a very, very interesting segment. We're now about to invite our next set of panelists here on stage as we get thinking. And yes, our next session is going to discuss all about rethinking architectural methodology. But before I invite our panelists on stage, let me take a moment and thank our partners for their trust and support. Our presenting partner, Panasonic, our Conclave partner, Lap India. May I also thank our co-partners, Tata Pravesh and Bostik India, our luxury partner, Audi Gurugram, our gifting partner, Flabites. I'd also like to thank our knowledge partner, REA India, Housing.com, and also our association partner, Griha Council. I really hope all of you are taking pictures and posting them on your social media. Do remember to tag us. You can see our hashtag right here, CWDB New Delhi. So we look forward to hearing your thoughts and more. But for now, let's get to know more about Tata Pravesh through this audiovisual. Let's have the AV up on screen, please.
Range of doors and windows, equipped with the strength of steel and graced with the elegance of wood. These eco-friendly residential and commercial doors and windows are termite and fire resistant, weatherproof, maintenance-free, and provide optimum security with greater durability. That's not it. They come with 5 years warranty and the safety of contactless delivery and installation free of cost. You can buy these doors and windows from the convenience of your home on ashiana.tatasteel.com. To know more, visit www.tatapravesh.com or call 1-800-4199-200. So, choose to stay secure. Choose Tata Pravesh doors and windows.
Choose to stay secure with Tata Pravesh, and it's now time for us to introduce to you our next panel who will be discussing rethinking architectural methodology. So may I request all of you to please put your hands together for our moderator. We have with us Ms. Shreon Sengupta, Director and Head, Edifice Consultants. May I request all of you to please put your hands together for someone who believes in creating timeless and practical designs which suit the client requirements and ensure delivery and completion of projects. May I please request all of you to put your hands together and welcome our moderator on stage, Ms. Shreon Sengupta. I'd also like to extend a very warm welcome to our esteemed panelists as we get set for this very engaging and interactive panel discussion. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to Mr. Nayan Raheja, Director, Raheja Developers. I'd also like to let all our guests know that a little later in the day, we will be having an interactive session where you can network, connect with each of our speakers. And of course, this is going to be a way for us to discuss the various issues that we've been having when it comes to the construction industry and sector. And you can see that absolutely gorgeous Audi right there on display. You're more than welcome to join the team there. I'm sure they'll be glad to see you. We have a special photo op zone, so I'd like to request all of you to please get set there and make sure you have your best smiles on for an instant photo. I'm sure the Audi team will be happy to see you. For now, let us extend a warm welcome to all our panelists and a very warm welcome to our moderator. We have with us Ms. Shreon Sengupta, Director and Head, Edifice Consultants, joining us on stage with her belief in creating timeless and practical designs which suit client requirements and ensure delivery and completion of projects just the way they are. May I request all of you to please put your hands together as she steps forward. I'd also like to extend a very warm welcome to our panelists. We have Mr. Nayan Raheja, Director, Raheja Developers, joining us on stage, a passionate entrepreneur who has been a driver for bringing Raheja Developers into a new era where he has contributed significantly to new systems and more. I'd like to request his kind presence here on stage, please. May I also present to you Ms. Sheetal, Managing Partner, Aeon Design and Development, who comes with an experience of over 23 years and has designed over 100 projects covering a staggering 50 million square feet of built space. May I request all of you to please put your hands together as she steps forward. Shunya, India's first net zero energy home, is one of her research development project, and that has been completely made out of waste. We wish her the very best as she steps forward. May I also present to you Architect Vivek Gupta, Principal Architect, Arvind Vivek and Associates. He has been a practitioner with over 3 decades of experience and is a firm believer in build-to-suit architecture. May I request all of you to please put your hands together for him as he steps forward. Well, while he joins us here on stage, may I also present to you Architect Raman Vig, founder, Bioenergetic Architecture. He comes with an experience of over 3 decades where he founded Bioenergetic Architecture, a design consultancy and mentoring initiative to integrate the knowledge of subtle energies. We will soon be having him here on stage. Meanwhile, may I also present to you yet another panelist. We are delighted by the kind presence of Mr. Vaibhav Manke, Panasonic Life Solutions, a business manager who has demonstrated history of working in the very complex B2B and B2G environment with a strong information technology, professional skill in key account management, marketing, negotiation, sales, business development, and sales operation. After a discussion time of about 35 minutes or so, we will be handing over the stage and opening for questions. So you're more than welcome to share your comments and, of course, take it forward. And may I request all of you to please welcome our panelists here on stage as we once again request Architect Raman Vig, founder, Bioenergetic Architecture, to join us, along with Architect Vivek Gupta, Principal Architect, Arvind Vivek and Associates. A round of applause as both of them step forward, please. And may I now hand over to Ms. Sen Gupta.
Good evening, and we've got an August panel here for today's discussion. The topic of discussion is a very vast topic, and it can be interpreted in multiple ways. It is rethinking architectural methodology. So today, though, like I said, that there are multiple things that you can discuss in this vast, all-encompassing kind of topic. What we are going to do is that we will quickly touch upon the design process, the planning process, and the execution process of projects. And we will have inputs from all the panelists here on these topics. So I'll start with, if you can give a quick introduction about yourselves for the benefit of the audience.
Sorry, are we following? So I'm going to start, first of all. You know, I'm one of the only people on the panel who's on both sides of the coin. So although you've written about me that I'm a developer, but I'm also an architect, and one of the only few people that you'll find in the country who are both architects from SPA Delhi and, of course, run a real estate company. I've been primarily involved in my company for product strategy, design, sales, marketing, collections, construction, engineering, you can say the whole life cycle. That's where my sort of focus, remains. We are building some really, really cool projects nowadays. We've had 2 hour, we've had in our history, we've built about close to 17 to 18,000 units, out of which about 8 to 9,000 have been handed over in the past. We are a 30, 40-year-old company, started by my father, and some interesting projects that we are doing. We are just just handing over a 61-story tower, making that the tallest building or one of the tallest buildings in the country in Gurgaon, and presently building Delhi's tallest building, about 41 floors, just 15 minutes from Connaught Place. And another interesting thing that we are doing in the Delhi projects, it's also the first slum rehabilitation project of Delhi, giving a new lifeline to about 15 to 20,000 people. In fact, it's the first SRA project of Delhi in public-private partnership with the Delhi government. I think these are some of the cool projects that we are working on. There's many others, but I would like to pass the mic now.
I don't think you're audible, Sheetal. You can use the other mic.
Thanks. So I'm Sheetal and an architect practicing for last 23, 24 years. It's always interested me to see that how we can get connected to nature and how much healing power nature has. So in my designs, always focused on how to connect people to nature and how we can bring that nature in, which I felt was somehow missing in the architecture done previously. So, and how we can really, there's so much power that nature has, how we can really use in our lives, whether it's in projects where we've experimented by reducing these, the stormwater, by using natural areas, swales and all, or whether it was, of course, harnessing natural light, or how running wind over water and over plants to oxygenate it. So using that power of nature, connecting people to nature, whether in commercial buildings, whether it was schools or all kind of projects that have come our way. And so every project tried to do better in terms of this and in terms of also energy efficiency, designing, so from energy efficient buildings to zero energy, and now designing projects which are giving back more to the planet than what they're taking from it. So yeah.
Hi, this is Vivek Gupta. I'm practicing for 37 years in Delhi now. As an architect, I think I strongly believe in build-to-suit architecture. And when I say build-to-suit, that is to suit the client, the climate, and the context, because architects normally are known to carry a large ego and they design for themselves, for their personal glory or the glory of the client, whereas the buildings always outlast the architect who's creating it. So until and unless we are creating for the client, because he's the one who's paying for it, and also when you're practicing in this country, which is varied climate, if you are addressing the climate, you're making buildings which are sustainable by means of climatically responsive architecture, and the context, which becomes extremely important, because when you're making a building for different genre of work that architecture entails, if you can design for the context, and the context is the supreme force in your design, that's what my firm belief in, and I guess that's the endeavor in our practices. Thank you.
Raman and Vaibhav, quick instructions from you.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Raman Vig, architect, building biology consultant, and Ayadi Vastukar. So my journey of past 25 years or so has been very fulfilling, being associate director with RSP India, being a design principal with Studio Lotus, and lately founded the domain of bioenergetic architecture, which is essentially an approach of design to create spaces that promote health, happiness, and harmony in the lives of those who inhabit such spaces. So that has been the journey so far. I think more of this will unfold through the talk as we go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, hi. Good evening all. I am Vaibhav, and I basically had the key accounts or key customers vertical for Panasonic Life Solutions. And we have been partnering with a lot of developers or real estate customers basically for integrating our Panasonic technologies and making the lives of users more comfortable. So there are a lot of technologies like whether you talk of EVs or solars or be it electrical automation for both residential as well as commercial applications. So we partner with different stakeholders like architects, consultants, or even developers directly and ensure that we make the user life usable and convenient.
Great. My first question and there are three architects here on the panel, is that how do you think the present situation related to where the world is going in terms of sustainability and green energy, etc., how do you think it has affected your design thinking and design process? Is it just a lipstick getting some lead ratings, etc., or do you actually start with that in mind, and how important is that aspect in terms of how you even commence your design process?
I'll take that. There can never be lipstick putting on sustainability, because I think sustainability has to be in the DNA of every architect. You don't need to have, apart from embodied energy which uses material, but while we are designing, our design methodology has to have sustainability through design. It's not that you orient your building wrongly and then you shade it or you do a camouflage so that you can have building perform in a certain manner. I think during the course of design, in the process of design, if it's in our DNA, we will take into account, like I said, the climate is extremely important. So if you're designing, and some of the projects that we've done in extreme climates like Leh Ladakh, where the orientation becomes the most important factor. If you're designing, your buildings are facing south, you're harnessing all the solar energy, you're making trombe balls and stuff like that. So I think that is not because of material, that's also not lipstick. What we can learn from is the indigenous techniques that have been there in the country, because I think people built extremely sustainably because there was no mechanical intervention available at that point in time. If we take leaf out of the way people have actually built indigenously, we learn a lot. And as architects, student architects, and then practicing architects, if we put it in our vocabulary that you have to build looking at the climate and making the building respond to that climate, I think we will do that. So it can never be just a makeover. It will always be in the genesis of that design. So the orientation, the densities, the way you are going to have the embodied energy of different materials that you're going to be using. If you're going to be using glass, then you have to use it sensibly. Of course, goes without saying, and we see a complete mockery of the way we use glass in this NCR, especially because, largely driven by builders' aspirations, where, sometimes the buildings have to look a certain kind, and this is what happened in almost the time that I started practice, when in the 90s, when the MNCs started coming into this country, they had a certain aura, they had to perform in a certain manner, not realizing, and we started aping the way their buildings were in Singapore or they were in the US or other countries, without realizing that the danger that we have, because our climate is not suited for all those glass buildings. And I think that needs to be broken now, and we need to start designing where the sustainability is part of the design.
So Nayan, my question to you is that is the designer's point of view, but you are actually building the buildings, you are talking to the owners, the people whom you're leasing out to. How does it really affect you? How does the project get affected with these?
I would actually, it's very interesting that he pointed out towards the builders, with a bit of a condescending tone here, but I would like to, I would like to assure you, there are multiple angles to a project. When you are actually into a real estate development project, there are so many different angles you're looking at. Of course, you're looking at whether you're building for the poor, you're building for the middle class, you're building for the rich, you're building for whoever it is. Maybe the super luxury. And you're trying to do the best with whatever is the economic angle or the budgetary angle to things that there are, which are there for the project. However, having said that, I personally am of the belief that it's not always just the budget, which can be a decision driver for any project. For example, in most of our projects, you'll find that we use, even in mid-segment projects, we are using double glazed glasses, and we've been using since the last, 10 to 15 years. The proportion between the amount of glass that we use versus, fixed facade, that's also usually, measured and controlled. However, there another angle comes into play, which is the constructability. Glass definitely does make it faster for you to build, compared to using other, sorts of facade systems or brickwork or concrete or anything else. And that's the reason why you see nowadays the glass itself is very, very efficient. If you're using a good low, sort of the U value glasses that are available, you would find that thermally thermally as well as in terms of sound, they are extremely efficient as well.
Yes, and fortunately quite a few manufacturers in India also are providing us with, energy efficient
now we've got the world open to us. I mean, we're using, across the board. But like I said, like he mentioned, I think the most important thing is the basics. That's where we all, tend to mess up. I mean, just in the endeavor to be fashionable in the way we sort of present our projects. And of course, there are angles, the marketing, commercial angles to it. We sort of don't focus on the basic things like orientation, the sun diagrams, the wind diagrams. But I think, at least we try as much as we can, given the sites to do the best that we can. Sustainability is coming up, the government is behind it. Noida government, central government, Gurgaon government, Delhi government. There's so many now new sort of policies that have been made. For example, in Gurgaon, you'll get 12% extra FAR if you were to get some 4-star or 5-star rating. In Noida, I know there's another policy. In Delhi, there's another policy. So government is pushing the developers. Developers, it's not lip service. They are trying. I mean, of course, you can't do lip service because you're being certified by Griha and mainly Griha, I think in Gurgaon. I don't know whether LEED is certifying anywhere else. But there is the Green Building Council. Everything gets checked. They're pretty strict. So, I mean, it is happening. Sustainability, it's work in progress. It's happening.
Sure. So, Raman, my question to you is that, we are talking about various aspects. We're talking about sustainability. Nayan just mentioned the rules are changing. Various aspects. There are 100 things that a designer really has to start off with when the design inception happens. What are your thoughts on what are the primary points that when you're looking at rethinking the methodology of architectural design, what do you think are the challenges that a firm really or a designer really faces?
Actually, this topic itself, when I first read it, rethinking architectural methodology, the first thought that came was it should be rethinking architectural consciousness. Because once we shift our consciousness, the methodologies shift by themselves. And anyways, there's nothing no universal methodology that exists in architecture. And there also, whether we are talking of a methodology of conceiving an architecture, or we are talking of methodology of delivering an architecture, all these thoughts are open for the discussion. But one thing I want to just pick up from your previous statement on what has this pandemic done to us. I think it has brought a major shift in the consciousness. And I would say for myself and the people I know, I cannot speak on behalf of everybody, but a lot of people have understood one thing very clearly, that there is the African proverb called Ubuntu, which means that my well-being is inherent in your well-being or our collective well-being. And nothing better than the times of COVID have illustrated to us than this realization that well-being of us, call it person, call it society, call it species, is so inherently tied with the well-being of the planet that, this is perhaps the shake-up call from the nature that came our way. Otherwise, it would have taken many, many more decades for this consciousness to come hit. Now, how does it translate? It translates that when now we are talking, or the client is discussing with us, and you talk about anything related to sustainability. In fact, that word has been so overused, I would keep it aside. I would say, just when you talk about being logical, then costs, numbers, of course, they're important, but they are not in the forefront. Everybody started to look at design from a sense of holism. And that was not present just 2 years ago, and that's a shift. Now, how much of it we can retain further as we go ahead, and God willing, these times are good. Do we remember these lessons and retain this consciousness is more important. And as far as sustainability aspects are concerned, I think we are way beyond what should be. Niti Aayog 2018 has clearly stated that by 2030, 20 of the cities of India would have depleted groundwater, would have no groundwater. Now we are sitting, 8 years from that point. Now when there is no groundwater, where is the water for construction coming from? At least the kind of construction that we are doing, the wet construction. Each square meter, I think these numbers are very important for us to register. Each square meter of built-up area, and this is a research paper in Indian context, takes about 17 kiloliter of water, both embodied as well as what is used at site. Now that was a number. Now imagine a very small house of 100 square meters. We are looking at 17 into 100 kiloliters of water. Now that is amount of water a family of 4 at an average of 135, 150 liters per day would consume over 8 to 9 years. Do we realize that we are living in an environment where construction takes that much of water and we don't have it? So all these, I won't say lofty, they are very much required. These steps that we are taking towards sustainability are definitely required, but much, much more is required. And that is our outlook of what defines luxury.
Sure, and that's a very good
so
point.
I think
and it
I'll
kind
leave
of
it at that
becomes
open.
imperative where you are looking at optimal usage and where is the thin line between what you need, what you could have more, and where is luxury. So those thin lines really need to be defined. And going back to the earlier point that I was asking is that when the architect is actually having to look at so many different parameters, to put together like a jigsaw and then give you an optimally designed. So I'm not saying that it has to be energy efficient or it has to be frugally designed or it could be luxury. I'm using the word optimal. Now when you are looking at optimal design, one of the things that really is being talked about these days is artificial intelligence. So Sheetal, my question to you is that do you really think as a designer, artificial intelligence can really come in the design stages which helps you in doing that optimal design where you're really not cutting corners but you're not overusing, like he spoke about water and other materials and other things. So you're not using up the resources that the world has. And when you are using them optimally and you are designing appropriately. So do you think AI really comes in that manner to our assistance?
Okay. So I'll start with the earlier question and then come to this. When you spoke about architectural methodology, I have seen a big shift of when I started my career to now. Always we were conscious about, when we talk about sustainability, balancing the environment, ecology with the comfort of the well-being of the people, because ultimately you're designing for people. We have to be conscious of the environment, but we have to marry or balance all of these aspects. Now, technology has given us a lot in terms of now we are able to not now, over the last couple of years, we have been able to, because an architect has to look at the holistic picture. He has to integrate all elements, whether it's the HVAC, whether it's the electricals, whether it is the acoustic, AV, sunlight, daylight, everything, and indoor environment quality. So that integration and an integrated approach is important. So I've seen times in the earlier when these were like lipstick, what you said, like, added on later. You design a building and then it comes in. Then I think people realize that that's not the way. The integrated approach from day one is important. And technology, these digital twinning of buildings or these different softwares which have come in, help in that integrated approach. From the day one, you're able to predict or see when you rotate your building what is the actual energy, how the energy changes, or how the amount of sunlight which is coming in or the heat which is coming in. So these have really helped. Now coming to the artificial intelligence, again I feel that balance is required, because what's being predicted is, after a couple of years, it will take over. I mean, you'll not need architects anymore. I mean, everything will be done. But I feel that how it will help is, it will give us more time to do the real integration, or give us because right now we are struggling with each and every detail. So let's say I, as a chief designer, I have a whole team to explain every detail and to ensure that that's really put in the drawings, or they're not errors, or something else gets executed what you've designed. Now that will really help us, that let's say the computer or the whatever talks to you, where you say, okay, I need a particular detail, and it'll tell you this is the wastage, this is, the way you can modulate it. Or so I think that artificial intelligence
intervention in the checking is kind of removed.
So it will tell you that, this is the material which is apt, because that's already fed in, and this is the kind of wastage, or this is the kind of. So I think that will really help us further in terms of sustainability, or I'd say in terms of cutting down the wastages, in terms of improving the efficiency, in terms of helping us even like the way different materials. Now there's robots, there's laser, there's so much, and 3D printing of the buildings now happening. So it helps, gives you the more flexibility with the material, to play with the material a little bit more. So I think that overedge will come.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Vaibhav, my question to you is that, yeah, please go ahead.
Sorry, there is a very interesting thing, because these guys raised something before I forget. I just want to share it with everybody. Your question is outdated already, because you're talking about what is the relevance of AI in architecture. We are in 2022. Now it's shifted to architecture in AI, not AI in architecture. What an interesting thing this is. I'll like to tell you by giving you an example. Last week I was sitting with a very, very dear uncle, very well-traveled, very noted personality in the country. And he was looking very worried. I said, what's wrong, uncle? Why are you so worried? He said, yaar, project nikal gaya mere haath se, kya karun? Casino project tha, itna bada project tha, haath se nikal gaya. मैंने तो बिड भी किया था 2-4 करोड़ रुपए का, कोई और ले गया मेरा प्रोजेक्ट. मैंने बोला, यार ये तो बहुत बुरा हुआ, कहाँ पे आप बिड कर रहे थे प्रोजेक्ट? He said, वो जो प्रोजेक्ट है ना, वो मेटावर्स में था. मैंने बोला, what is this metaverse? He says, यार, I appointed everybody, मेरे सारे plans ready थे, उसमें everything I had gotten ready, interiors ready थे मेरे casino के, and वो हाथ से निकल गया metaverse में. So next half an hour I sat down with him. I said, hang on, what are you talking about? He said, artificial intelligence, there's a new world. It's been created by Mark Zuckerberg, and everybody's buying buildings. We are already designing buildings. We are hiring people to work in designing buildings in AI. People are going to log in virtual reality, and they are going to go to casinos or whatever else that they want to in the future. And I'm putting all my money into this. This is the day and age we live in. It's no longer about
people are buying paintings on the metaverse. They are buying clothes on metaverse. They're buying houses on metaverse.
Forget usage of BIM. Forget usage of START softwares or wind tunnel testings or anything else that we've been using softwares for buildings. यहाँ तो अभी level ही अलग पहुंच चुका है.
So Vaibhav, what will you do when everything goes on metaverse? You are a product manufacturer and supplier. You are going to go out of business.
Yeah, personally, first thing I'll invest in metaverse and crypto because that's the ongoing trend these days. But I agree completely with this, that metaverse, probably AI, machine learning, these are not only the buzzwords these days, and these are the flip sides of COVID, I would say. Because of movement restrictions that we had, or probably less face-to-face interactions, we were dependent on the digital things. And specifically in terms of implementing architecture projects, basically, when it comes to executing projects, it was very difficult for different stakeholders to interact with each other. So AI integrated with your cloud-based modeling was a couple of initiatives which I have seen a lot of developers have taken. So when it comes to designing, and there are multiple stakeholders, be it an architect who is sitting across the world or probably different cities altogether, they can access the data at any point of time. They can simulate the entire building's entire project and see whether it is actually going as per their intention or not. Secondly, when it comes to execution, different construction technologies like MyOne is there, or you have PVC shuttering, and complementing those technologies completely with, say, Google Glass, for that sake. You can do live modifications and see whether it's going in the correct direction or not. Safety, again, is one more area where AI and machine learning have contributed a lot, because typically in construction industry, if you see, there are a lot of incidences where safety is important, and there are a lot of accidents also which happen because there's a lot of manual labor which is involved. And AI coupled with sensors, machine learnings, if it's actually implemented properly, it can give you an indication of different choke points or different points, vulnerable points where you have the data and you can go and take corrective action. So that's one area where we have seen that a lot of accident reduction has happened. So, and it comes to other side of it, when it comes to ordering products, or say inventory management, or say order management. So again, I'm coming back to, if you have an AI machine learning model which is basically integrated with cloud, your entire requirement planning, that happens on a very regular day-to-day scale, because I don't have to build up inventories. I can actually monitor my project on a day-to-day basis and ensure that never I have excess amount of material which is available for proper running of the project, which can save my running cost also, because that is also very important in these COVID times. So these are some of, I think, difference, or basically in processes which has happened post-COVID, which I think should go in long term, and subsequently as we go forward, it will keep on developing.
So post-COVID, or rather through the COVID times, there is a terminology which has come up now in terms of is flexibility, the flexibility of design, because today the spaces are being used for something, again they are using for something else, because there's a lot of uncertainty that is there, And I'd like to understand from the panel in terms of how, in terms of design, and of course, from from the implementation side, how are we really taking care of this flexibility built into the design process, so that we are finally making spaces, projects, etc., which are able to ever change and imbibe and live up to the that flexibility. Do you want to take that question?
I think one of the things that has come about post-COVID is as Nayan said, about the metaverse part of it. So I think construction activity is the largest plunderer of natural resources. So I think what has happened is this hybrid way of working suddenly has made you realize that we don't need downtowns, we don't need large offices, we don't need mega malls, because you are ordering everything online. You can work out of homes, at best in the smart commune kind of working, where you can actually go to your co-working space 5 times in a week, and one day you go to your main office. That reduces your carbon footprint, allows you to have a smart commute and all of that. So I think that will change. And obviously so the paradigm shift that can come about in building sustainably is to build less. Suddenly you don't need all those large, as I said, malls, you don't need large offices, because you can have a hybrid way of working. So that when you are not plundering all the natural resources, when the water depletion is not an issue with you, not such a serious issue with you, when you are not actually building physically, you are building in metaverse, you are actually building sustainably. And that's a paradigm shift that can come about post that. But we are also forgetting is that all that happened in this country during the lockdown, when the workforce, and especially the construction labor, was completely displaced, are we taking a leaf out of that? Are we learning from that? And are we going to start building in a different manner, that we do not deploy as many labor, we start building smartly, that we build large part of our buildings off the site, we will build with machines, we build prefab, and then we come and assemble things on the site. I think that will help both the entire work process, the entire construction process, and along with IoTs. In fact, if IoT can help in material procurement, where that life cycle of a project, of project construction can get drastically reduced, and it's a smart way of working because then you know what material is required when, your inventory management is so much better, and I'm sure that WebHub can help the AI and IoT of things in building industry in a little more productive manner, I think.
So Nayan, your two-bit on this. In hindsight, having gone through the entire pandemic, and fingers crossed, I think we've gone over the hill now, hopefully. So in hindsight, do you think that the architects, and there are like multiple architects on this panel, is there a wish list from you, from the developer's point of view, that had this been developed in this manner, or had the designers really thought about this during their, thinking process, then probably I would have been in a better position to utilize my property. Is there some wish list that you would want to bring to the forum?
It's already, I feel, there's so many projects that we are doing, we are already on the cutting edge, we are choosing to work with the best consultants, globally. We carefully, of course, first analyze, who's good at what. I think the problems are not there. I mean, there's no lack of expertise, by the way, in our country. I mean, we've got some brilliant minds here. The issues are more elemental, and I, of course, agree with you. The best way to be more sustainable is to build less or to not build at all. I mean, the most sustainable thing is a empty green field. But what does one do with so much population that's burgeoning, right? I mean, it's bursting at the seams. Humans are themselves the problem, right? That's what you're trying to balance here with the, with the building industry. Somehow provide them with homes and all. I think there are so many other elemental issues which on a planning level, I wish, we could have done better. I mean, I look at this city, Delhi, for 50% of Delhi, became unauthorized because of the lack of planning, initially. And then, you have these illegal colonies which have come up, and due to that, Gurgaon and Noida, sort of came up. Then when they came in, they opened up so much area. It was really 3 times of the master plan that was required, and the whole property market fell. So I think the mind really needs to go on a holistic level, and hopefully with maybe a unified government, we can have a better direction so that, you can have some, I mean, things are getting better, but on a planning level, I think, the vision for this country needs to be laid out. I mean, what do we want this to become? I mean, somebody wants this to become a New York, somebody Dubai, and somebody Nai Delhi. But I think from a planning policy parameter perspective, I think there is lots of work needed to be done. On the infra, our government is moving. Last 4 or 5 years has been tremendous growth across the country with highways, ports, electrical lines being laid all over. But still, lots needs to be done. I mean, you've got super fancy buildings, and outside there is potholes and poor people on the street. I think ultimately we are here as a society, as humanity, and the purpose of architecture, planning, everything should be, to uplift and get everybody to at least a basic standard of living. And that, I think, can happen. I mean, that's the power that we have as architects or as the next generation, with our work, to actually improve upon the lives and lifestyles.
Yeah, do something that our next generations are proud of us.
Absolutely.
That's our mission. So great, thank you. Thank you so much. Should we open for some questions? If anybody has some questions, please, for the panel. Yeah, please go ahead. Please introduce yourself and ask the question.
Hi, I'm Ruchi. I'm an architect and designer. I have one question divided into 2 parts with Sheetal and Mr. Raheja. So, Sheetal, do you think, अभी आपने जो बोला थोड़ा सा डर गए हम AI के बारे में, but do you think that AI can really replace us? And the continued question is, Mr. Raheja, if this happens, would you rather be investing on AI oriented minds or architects like us?
$1 million question. We'd all like to know that.
So I don't think AI can completely replace us because it can help us. That's what I said, that balance would be required because ultimately that human touch is, what we can feel. I don't think they'll have that much of emotional intelligence to actually, because the designs are intuitive. When you look at a site, it's not that, it's one solution. But definitely they'll aid us, they'll help us in taking certain decisions, and probably in terms of the design, and not in design and detailing and construction drawings, definitely I feel that will be, so it's going to be a mix, I feel. They can never, yes.
Can never replace, yeah.
But for construction, definitely, I think, because he already spoke about safety, about, robots actually making it's safer than putting human life at risk.
No, even he spoke about this material procurement and all this. If it
Yeah.
happens with AI, it's amazing.
It is, we are moving towards that. Even there's a talk about robots actually building the building, where it is not prefab, rather than putting life at risk when you're taking things up and down, and so yes,
if you ever find an architect who's given you the response that yes, I will be, a practicing architect has told you yes, I will be replaced by AI, please do let me know.
Yeah, sure.
Actually, sorry Nayan, because it's related, I'll continue. I'm going to burst your bubble. The fact is, as we are talking today, the state of art in AI is that intention decoding algorithms are already there. In China, they are using predictive policing. Exactly. We already have IIT doing 3D printing. Now, that's the state as of now, as of yesterday.
Yeah.
Within
the next 10 to 20 years, you are going to have emotionally aware machines.
Yes.
You're going to have 3D printed food. So definitely, building ki technology to kahin pahunchegi na. The answer is, it's high time, it's as of yesterday that we start realizing. See, we have had a poor habit out of our education system that we are given a problem and then we solve it. And throughout our life, we remain like that. Here, we need to go ahead and not find a problem, become a part of that reality which is going to happen. And Nayan has already pointed towards the fact that metaverse is a whole new world where we, as architects with our competencies, would find some occupation.
Yes.
More importantly, all the mechanisms that have to come. AI कोई तो लगाएगा ना, कोई तो बनाएगा, और उसके लिए वो जो competency चाहिए, that means architects need to partner with the right engineering, right investment.
Definitely need to
be a part of that ecosystem. So replacement is not the right word. Important thing is if we are aware and we take right actions, we become a part of that, which is inevitable anyways.
So change is imminent.
Yes. Yeah. And we cannot, be the way
we cannot run from
status
it.
quo.
Definitely.
Can I scare you?
Yes.
Just one line answer.
Yeah.
AI will replace us.
Yeah.
AI should replace us. But it's not happening anytime soon in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
But it's going to happen. I mean, come on, look at what humans have done to this planet, right? I mean, there's no space left on this planet anymore to do much. And I mean, it's moving at a breakneck speed. And the thing driving it is consolidation of the world power in the hands of very, very few people, and who have the access to so much resources that they can actually do this, right? They can come out with something like this and have millions others supporting in that dream. Is that your dream or my dream? It doesn't really matter. It's not my dream to have some matrix and people logged in and all of that, right? It's not my dream, but it's going to happen. It's inevitable, right? At some point in time. I also want to tell you one very short story. Yeah. As an architect, it's a very important thing because since we're coming up with all this AI, I was in 5th year, last year, and I was struggling with my thesis. I had this professor who was a very old guy, 60, I think must be 70 something, Mr. Mathur. He was my thesis guide, and I used to, go to him with all fancy AutoCAD drawings. I'm talking SPA days, 2000, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5. Right? I always used to take fancy drawings, renderings, this, that. I had all resources back at office. And he used to keep telling me, Nayan, ye teri drawings kitni so beautiful, yaar. What fantastic, very good, very good. So I thought, one day I got hold of him, I said, yaar, you just keep saying beautiful, beautiful, but you don't give me any marks. He said, you want marks? You first throw off all these fancy drawings of yours, take a grid sheet, take a pencil and an eraser, and first you learn how to design. If you want to learn how to design, it's going to happen with a pencil and an eraser and not on AutoCAD and on renderings and this and that. And what I learned in that 5th year has stuck with me. My mind can create AI, AI may control whatever else, but my mind, my intelligence in the most, sort of basic of forms, that's what the real value is, and that's what humanity is.
Exactly.
And that's the power of humanity, at least for now.
Thank you so
Human and technology really going hand in hand, at least for now. Like you said, that the empathy, the touch that humans can add can't be replaced. But well, someday we can hope that AI will help us and guide us to the better. But thank you so very much, all panelists. You've been absolutely wonderful. And to thank all of you personally, may I please request the kind presence of Mr. Gaurav Sarkar from Lap India to join us on stage and present each of our panelists along with our moderator with a token of appreciation. May I request you to please join us on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Mr. Sarkar, and may I request you to present each of our panelists with a token of our appreciation. All thanks to Flabites, our gifting partner. Thank you so very much for sharing your views with us. We much appreciate your presence. Thank you, sir. I'm sure the audience had many takeaways from the various points that were shared by all of you all. Thank you, Ms. Sheetal. It's a pleasure having you here on the panel. Mr. Raheja, thank you so very much for joining us and sharing those anecdotes there. A big thank you to Ms. Sen Gupta for moderating this session. And may I request all of you to please join us for a group picture. Mr. Sarkar, we'd love to have you in the same frame, please. Requesting our guests to please step forward and allow us a moment as we capture this beautiful picture. And this session has been a very, very interesting one. Very soon we're going to bring to you yet another offering from our partner. Thank you so very much for joining us. I'd like to request all of you to please take a seat in the audience. Thank you. Thank you all. We're now all set to tell you about an absolutely fantastic brand. So let's look towards the screen as we bring to you an AV about Panasonic. Allow us a moment as we clear the stage and set it up for a moment that we've all been waiting for. Very soon we're going to start with the awards evening, so I'd like to request all of you to please hold your breath as we get set for our next segment, which I promise you is going to be very, very interesting. A little later in the evening, we'll also be welcoming all of you to join us for networking dinner, and we're hoping that all our speakers will be there as well. So you're more than welcome to connect in case there are more questions that we could not take live during this time slot. May I also request all of you to please continue clicking pictures, share your updates, what you think about the various sessions and our speakers that we've lined up for you. Do head to your social media accounts and do remember to tag us using our hashtag, which are also up on the screen for you. We'd love to see what you think about us and what you think about the current edition that we've got on for you. For now, let's get to know more about Panasonic through this audiovisual up on the screen. I'd like to thank Team Panasonic for their support, and as we lead this better life, let me also extend a very warm welcome to Mr. Ankit Mehrotra from Panasonic, and may I welcome him on stage to tell us more about their offerings. A round of applause for him, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, very good evening to everyone. So Panasonic, the name which doesn't require so much of introduction, being a household name in the country and across the globe. So I made a very small presentation of 18 slides, which will be sharing some facts about the Panasonic and the products available in India. So thank you. So as I mentioned, the Panasonic, globally a Fortune 500 company, ranking 153. Revenues are $68 billion across the globe. Almost a century there in this world, established in 1918. Employs close to 2.5 lakh of employees across the globe. So this is what the facts about Panasonic across the globe. So what Panasonic is doing in India. So Panasonic is in India since last so many years. As I mentioned, in India also Panasonic has become a household name. So it is established in 1963. Revenues now at $526 million and a market leader in wiring devices. And employs close to 9,000 employees across the country. So Panasonic, as you must have seen the AV, wherein you must have seen several products which are there globally in Japan. But what is there in India? So In India, we are actually taking the products and technologies from outside and applying in India. So we have divided into 4 segments in health, comfort, energy conservation, and safety and security. So in health, we have our products, air purifiers, home appliances, seated showers, water faucets. For comfort, we have modular kitchens, home automation products, lighting solutions, and indoor air quality products in India. On the energy conservation side, we have our products like EV chargers, solar energy solutions, smart LED solutions, energy monitoring and saving systems. Into safety and security, we are into protection devices, switch gears, switches, wires and cables, building management systems, and video door phones. So you must be seeing some of the words which panel might be discussing on the sustainability, IoT, indoor air quality. So we have the products there in India. So IoT driven solutions we have in Panasonic. As I mentioned, we are into firing devices. We are a market leader for around 37% market share. So we have a capacity of 2.45 crore switches per month. So this is our strength. And having a range of across, right from ultra luxury to the economy, everything. So in switchgear, in protection, in safety and security side, we have the protection devices switchgears having a capacity of 2 crore poles per annum. So in lighting, we have a complete range like indoor, commercial, retail and hospitality, industrial solutions and outdoor lighting as well. So here are this is a slide reflecting few references across the globe. The facade lighting. So this is the Fujisawa Sustainable Smart Town which Panasonic is working on since 2014 in Fujisawa, Japan. So here you might be seeing in the pictures all the household requirement of electricity is being taken care by the solar rooftops. EV charging has been applied in this smart city. Housing solutions, EMS, BMS, fire alarm systems, all has been applied into this smart city, which is there in Fujisawa, in Japan. So here are some success stories where we have implemented the smart lighting solutions. This is one success story we implemented in Kalyan Dombivali Municipal Corporation, wherein we have installed 30,000 smart street lights with CCMS panel, wherein we can control all the lightings from a single remote system, any device which can access our internet. This again Varanasi Convention Center, wherein we have applied lighting and lighting control systems. All the automations has been implemented in Varanasi Convention Center, which has been inaugurated last year by the Prime Minister. This again one reference for Nagpur Metro Rail project, wherein we have applied all the lighting solution, turnkey systems, industrial battens, suspended linear, all the lighting solution has been provided by Panasonic in Nagpur Metro. So this is the lighting management system applies to some of the references when we were talking about camellias. We have installed our lighting management systems in DLF, Varanasi Convention Center, THK and Skyland. So this is the fire alarm systems. We have a complete range of fire alarm systems implemented, available in India. The technology has been taken from Japan and implemented in India. So I just mentioned about the EV chargers. This is the future of the country, wherein all the infrastructure would be requiring for charging the EVs. So we have a solutions, and recently we have installed we have done couple of projects with Delhi Metro, wherein we have installed the chargers with Karnataka State Electricity Board. this one, and Himachal RTC, wherein buses are getting charged from Panasonic chargers. So these are, and one of the residential project as well in Gurgaon, Central Park. So this is the solutions of video intercom systems. The complete range is available with Panasonic. So you must have seen the Olympics, which has been done in Tokyo last year. So all the shadowless lighting, all the 22 stadiums has been done by Panasonic lighting. All shadowless lighting was there. So that is again one of the big achievement by Panasonic in Japan. So that's it. So thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to present, and would request to see, we have showcased some of the products here in the pre-function area. So if at all, if possible, I would request you all to visit that area. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, and to personally thank you and Team Panasonic, may I please request Ms. Rishali Negandhi from Construction World to join us on stage. A round of applause for her as she steps forward, please. And like you heard, team will be right here in case any of you would like to connect with them. I'm sure they'll be happy to share what all their offerings are. Thank you so very much for joining us. Thank you. Thank you, Rishali. So very nice of you to join us here on stage. And as we look forward to this absolutely fabulous evening, I'd like to request all of you to please look towards the screen and take a look at this absolutely stunning Audi. Let's have the AV, please.
We all look at the same world, but we all look at it in a different way. Some just see beautiful lines. We see character. Some see a new light. We see a new vision. Some see what's there. We see beyond. Audi.
Well, I would like to inform all our guests that we have a very special photo booth, and you can get instant pictures with that gorgeous Audi right there, and I'm sure the team will be happy to see you. Let me once again take a moment and thank our partners for their support, our presenting partner Panasonic, our Conclave partner Lap India, co-partners Tata Pravesh and Bostik India. May I also thank our luxury partner Audi Gurugram, our gifting partner Flabites. May I also take a moment and thank our knowledge partner REA India, Housing.com, and our association partner Griha Council. Let us look forward to the evening, to a moment that we've all been waiting for. CW Design Build Awards, the stalwarts of the North Delhi NCR. And may I request all of you to please put your hands together as we get set to invite on stage our winners, because I think even being here, even being nominated deserves a round of applause. So may I request all of you to please put your hands together. The Construction World Architects and Builders Awards are known to be the Oscars of the design and building industry, and that is exactly what we're talking about this evening. This is a celebration of all those who are game changers and have made noteworthy achievements in the building industry. So let us now request the kind presence of our presenters, Mr. Vaibhav Manke and Mr. Ankit Mehrotra, to please join us on stage to present the awards. Welcome, gentlemen. It is such a pleasure to see both of you right here. And very soon, Mr. Parode will be joining us here on stage. But we thought that now that we are talking about champions, now that we are talking about achievers, now that we have so much happening right here, why not showcase our viewers, our audience members, about what it feels like to be a champion. So may I please have the Champions AV up on the screen.
roti kapda makan, shelter seems to be deprived in our country. And those who get shelter too don't get the quality and value for what they are paying. We want to bring all that to the customer. The end of the day, he should be a happy customer, a satisfied customer, in fact, a delighted customer.
Adding life to your big ambitions, Ultratech, India's #1 cement.
We did lots of individual buildings, small layouts, then subsequently jumped into Powai and Thane being the projects which ultimately brought a good reputation to the entire group. The purpose of everything created by Hiranandani's is to create the best in class and bring value to the customers. All the idea is really to create something of quality, something of value, and it's always consumer centric. Every couple of years, projects have problems, and many times it's government problems, it's problems with PILs which have been filed, and people who are trying to fault find you and take you into litigation. Because we were in the right track and ethically correct and really had no intention to do anything wrong, we have ultimately proved ourselves and been able to survive situations that we have, but problems too many. One of my aspirations was that whatever I build in Powai should be better than Malabar Hill and South Bombay. So the buildings that I made, the school that I built, the infrastructure to be created should be better than anything which is in South Bombay. Fortunately for me, we managed to excel in each and every one of those items. So everywhere in construction, we took care how to improve quality of the construction. And we also created buildings which were waterproof. And in Mumbai, that surprisingly was the first time it happened. We made the first concrete roads in Mumbai in a private layout. In fact, they were prohibited at that time. So we had to take very special permission in order to do it. We built the first sewage recycling plant in a private layout in India 25 years ago. And we processed 4 million liters of sewage every single day. We built 100 acres of gardens and forests in and around Powai and maintained them. All this, when we went to do, it created a quality of work which was second to none. And of course, we looked at design in terms of the buildings, and we created a novel design which has been emulated by hundreds of other developers subsequent to ours. So we are very happy, because once you know somebody's copying you, you know for sure you've done a good job. Well, we are not really transforming, we are evolving. Real estate as a focus area still continues to be our mainstream at this point of time. For instance, my son Darshan, he has built the second tallest residential tower in the world, and we have built up Asia's largest data center in Panvel. We've also set up a platform for industrial and warehousing with a 50-50 shareholding with Blackstone. And the third is gas. So we are into the H Energy has put up the gas terminal in Jaigarh. So these are the various diversification led by my son Darshan, and I kind of support him. In real estate, he supports me.
Meeting India's construction champions right here. A round of applause there, and we're all set to bring to you a moment that we've all been waiting for. Stalwarts of the North, Delhi and NCR, we have with us on stage Mr. Vaibhav Manke and Mr. Ankit Mehrotra. May I please request all of you to put your hands together as I invite the kind presence of Mr. Pratap Patode on stage yet again. Please put your hands together for the Editor-in-Chief of Construction World magazine and the visionary behind this breathtaking evening. Welcome, gentlemen. Such a pleasure to see three leaders all set to congratulate our winners right here. So as I extend a warm welcome to them, in alphabetical order, let us get set to wish the very best to our winners. May I request all of you to put your hands together as the first award of the Stalwarts of the North, Delhi NCR, goes to Please put your hands together for 42 architecture. May I extend a very warm welcome to our partner, Ms. Sukhpreet Kaur, to join us on stage to accept the award along with music. 42 has been specializing in architecture, interiors and urban design. The firm has strategic know-how, design tools to create comfort and achieve lighting requirements in a built environment. Many, many congratulations. Our best wishes to Ms. Sukhpreet. Ma'am, may I request you to please briefly tell us how proud are you at this moment receiving this award? It's on.
Hi, good evening, everyone. First of all, it's a really pleasant evening over here sharing the time with all of you. And how proud we are, of course, every recognition, whenever we get, we feel good about it. And it also encourages us to do much more better. So, yeah, rather than feeling proud, I'm more encouraged to do much more better right now.
Fantastic. We're so glad. Thank you so very much
Thank
for
you so
joining
much.
us.
And I also want to thank CW and I want to congratulate for 25 years and hope it goes more and more and we all get to know more about this. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your best wishes. A round of applause for her and her entire team. May I now request all of you to please put your hands together for stalwarts of the North Delhi NCR. Up next is Aeon Design and Development. May I please invite the managing partner, Ms. Sheetal, to join us on stage and accept the award. A round of applause for this fantastic team as Ms. Sheetal steps forward. Aeon Design and Development is a multi-dimensional architecture and interior design studio specialized in IT parks, hospitals, hotels, and personalized residences. Many, many congratulations. Applause is in the house from the audience, please. Thank you. Sheetal, we'd love to know from you what you feel and how does it really feel being here.
Thank you so much for acknowledging our efforts. You know, it's always good to get acknowledged. I mean, it encourages us to do better. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, and here's wishing you and the team the very best. And it's now time for us to move forward to yet another winner. Please put your hands together for AKDA, Stalwarts of the North Delhi NCR. Joining us on stage, Mr. Amit Khanna, Design Principal. Many, many congratulations to Mr. Khanna, who founded this in 2004. The studio's philosophy is to make regional speciality and sustainable interesting to design process and the final product. Many, many congratulations. Mr. Khanna, may I please request you to share a few words with our audience?
Well, it takes a lot to get here, and it's nice to be around people who have all taken that effort. It's good to be in good company. Thank you.
We wish you the very best, and may I please request all of you to put your hands together for ANA Design Studio. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to Mr. Muhammad Amin Narayan on stage to accept the award. The firm was founded in 1996 and holds expertise in architectural design, be it institutional, commercial, hospitality. Many congratulations. May I please request you to share a few words with our audience?
Well, thank you very much. Of course, a big thank you to Construction World. It's good to be back in a physical meeting after it sounds like several years, 2 years. But this award is for two sets of people, a bunch of 28 very young, hardworking, talented people at ANA who actually do the work. I'm the guy who receives the awards. And of course, our clients, because of whom we are here. So thank you, everyone.
Well, you're also the one who does share credit, and how very humble of you, and also the one behind that. So thank you so very much. Many congratulations to your team. Let us now put our hands together for yet another stalwart of the North Delhi NCR, Anagram Architects. And may I please invite the principal and co-founder, Mr. Vaibhav Dimrion, to join us on stage to accept the award. The firm's work promotes a reconnection with ecology and a responsible lifestyle through design, articulation and innovation. We'd like to wish them the very best. May I please request you to share a few words?
I really want to thank for this award, and I really want to agree with Amin that it's not just me, it's a whole team effort here. And I think, and we've got our team here, I think, so applause for them as well.
It's nice to see the young minds right here. Many, many congratulations and best wishes to each of you. It's now time for us to move towards yet another absolutely fabulous firm. Please put your hands together for BPTP. May I please invite the CFO, Mr. Manik Malik, on stage to accept the award, as they are undertaking a wide range of products, including integrated townships, residential and commercial complexes across NCR. The company is gradually spreading its footprints and having its presence in Hyderabad as well. Many, many congratulations, Mr. Malik, and our audience would love to hear a few words from you.
Thanks a lot. Really humbled to receive this on behalf of BPTP family. We do look forward to keep on serving our customers in a best possible manner and expand our footprints in NCR region as of now. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that.
Thank you so very much. May I now request all of you to please put your hands together for City Space 82 Architects, and I'd like to extend a warm welcome to Associate Architect Prabdeep Kaur on stage to accept the award on behalf of our firm. Started in 2005, the firm has achieved great heights with their projects and tourists, which has recently won various awards. Many, many congratulations to you. Ma'am, may I request you to please share a few words with our audience?
Hi, thank you so much, Construction World. It means a lot to accept this on behalf of the entire studio. Means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, and may I request all of you to please put your hands together for Stalwarts of the North, Delhi NCR. And joining us up next is the team from CP Kukreja Architects. May I extend a very warm welcome as we have the kind presence of Mr. Dikshu Kukreja joining us to accept the award. Founded in 1980, CP Kukreja Architects have been recognized as the most innovative Indian architectural design firm for the year 2018, among other numerous awards. They specialize in master planning, in urban design, infrastructure planning, and much more. We'd love to hear Mr. Kukreja share the secret behind his success with us.
Thank you very much. I think every award that any architect receives is actually a felicitation to the fraternity. So this is really for our fraternity of architects. Thank you.
How wonderfully put by you. Thank you so very much for joining us. And at this moment, I'd like to thank the kind presence of Mr. Manke and Mr. Mehrotra. Thank you for joining us, gentlemen. And to accompany Mr. Padode on stage, may I please extend a warm welcome to Mr. Vikas Kulkarni, Managing Director, Bostik India. A round of applause as he steps forward, please. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it up for him. Thank you. You're a very kind audience. Joining us to present the next set of awards as we get set to congratulate all the winners, the real stalwarts of the North Delhi NCR. And it is such a pleasure seeing you here on stage with us, sir. Thank you for joining us. Let us put our hands together for El Deco Group, may I please request Mr. Varun Kapoor to join us on stage and accept the award on behalf of the group that has been the forefront of real estate development since 1985. They really do believe in timely and quality delivery and have done so in 15 cities in North India and have handed over 175 projects already. May I please request Varun to share a few words with us.
Firstly, congratulations Construction World for the stunning 25 years and all the very best for the next. It's a great privilege to receive this award on behalf of El Deco Group. Thank you Construction World and the eminent jury. It means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for your kind wishes, and let us now extend a very warm welcome to Genesis Architects. I'd like to invite Mr. Navjot Paul Singh, Principal Architect and Founder, Genesis Architects, to join us on stage next. Established in 2001, they have developed an expert practice within entertainment, retail, hospitality and corporate projects. We'd like to welcome both the gentlemen here. Many, many congratulations. Pleasure to see you. Sharing the fame of success and more, our best wishes. May I please request you to say a few words?
Well, thank you Construction World for facilitating us. We are happy and proud to be here. Our team is also here, so we want to thank them because without their help and their support, we would not have reached this pedestal that we are now. Thank you so much and all the best to you guys.
Thank you for your best wishes and many congratulations to the entire team. Construction World brings to you Stalwarts of the North, Delhi NCR. Please put your hands together for Gian P. Mathur and Associates, and may I please welcome the Managing Director, Gian P. Mathur, on stage to accept the award. Established in 1979, the firm specializes when it comes to efficient and economical concept to completion of services for all your owners, be it mixed use, commercial, township, residential and much more. A round of applause for sir as he steps forward, please. Sir, our audience would love to hear from you. Please do share some thoughts this evening.
Good evening, everybody. I'm thankful to Construction World for this. And I'm thankful to my team also. I mean, we have been in this practice for the last 40 years now. And it's all because of the clients and the team which we have. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Mathur. Pleasure having you here with us. Let us now put our hands together for yet another stalwart. I'd like for all of you to please welcome on stage Omax. A round of applause for Director of Finance Omax. We have with us Mr. Atul Bansal. Please put your hands together as they bring to you some absolute landmark projects with engineering marvels who've created a niche in both luxury and affordable segments. Today, the company is present in over 27 cities across the nation. Many, many congratulations. Our audience would love to hear from Mr. Atul Bansal, so may I please request him to share a few words with us.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for this award. Thank you. And at Omax, we believe in customer satisfaction, timely delivery, and quality construction. And these awards further encourage and motivate us. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thanks.
We hope that your beliefs and your growth stories continue to grow. Thank you so very much. Let us now put our hands together as Construction World presents to you Stalwarts of the North, Delhi NCR. Let's welcome Purple Studio. I'd like to invite Mr. Jacquem C. Rodriguez, Principal Architect, to please join us on stage. Established in 2014, the firm has evolved into an enormous unit by serving projects in huge numbers. They have won various awards till date and continue to do so. Congratulations. So may I please request you to share What a proud moment this is for you.
It's an honor to be recognized on this platform, and thank you, and keep encouraging future architects to do better.
Thank you so very much for those kind words. And may I please request all of you to put your hands together as I thank Mr. Kulkarni for joining us for his presence here. It's been a pleasure having you, sir. May I now invite Mr. Himanshu Sharma and Mr. Anuj Malhotra from Tata Parvesh to join us on stage, please, to present the next set of awards along with Mr. Padode. May I please request our audience to put their hands together as we welcome our special guests. Thank you for joining us, gentlemen. Construction World brings to you Stalwarts of the North, New Delhi, NCR, and the next award goes to Raheja Developers. May I please extend a warm welcome to Mr. Nayan Raheja, Director, Raheja Developers, to join us on stage. Raheja Developers, as we well know, is one of the largest companies in India with over 60 million square feet of implementation and permitting projects. A round of applause for 3 decades more than experience and putting together beautiful smiles, over 36 projects delivered and 12 undergoing. Mr. Raheja, our audience is looking forward to hearing another thought from you, please.
Sorry, I started a rut with that AI thing. You know, people are talking to me outside about it. Anyways, I'm sorry if I hurt any sentiments there. But in any case, thank you very much for the award and the invite to be here amongst a lot of friends and architects. So really glad. Thank you and all the best. Great job, Construction World. By the way.
Everybody is welcome to their opinions. You just shared yours. We congratulate you for the award. Thank you so very much for joining us this evening. Pleasure to have you. And let us now put our hands together for Rat Labs plus Smart Labs. I'd like to invite Mr. Shashant Verma, founding partner and design head, to join us on stage and accept the award. The firm was established in 2012 and has executed projects such as Tokyo Shopping Mall, Arvar Alto Museum in Finland, along with many more. They bring down the gap between architecture and technology. Many congratulations. Mr. Verma, may I request you to please share a few words with our audience.
Thank you, Construction World, and it's a great feeling to be amongst the other stalwarts. Being a comparatively young firm, we feel very privileged to receive this award. And thanks to all our collaborators and architects who we work with, who thrive on the idea of innovation with which we started, and hopefully with such recognitions, we'll work harder to put India on a global map of innovation. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, and we wish you the very best. And with this, we'd like for all of you to please put your hands together for the winners. And of course, for our presenters, you've all been very kind. Thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Padode, it's been a pleasure having you here on stage with us, along with Mr. Sharma and Mr. Malhotra. For all the winners, in just a bit, I'd love to see all of you up on stage along with those beautiful plaques. We would love to have all of you in the same frame in a group picture. But before that, we want to tell you a little more about our upcoming events. You know, when we started the evening, Mr. Padode did share with us what we can look forward to. And now that the pandemic is behind us, there are a lot of on-ground events that we are looking forward to celebrating with you. So may I please request all of you to take a look towards the screen as we tell you what and how ASAP Info Global is going to touch lives and the industry. We have some absolutely fabulous events right here. You're more than welcome to connect with the team and see how you can participate. Of course, the 3i Expo, which will be held in Mumbai, you're more than welcome to participate. We also have Construction World Architects and Builders Award 2022, which will be happening in August in Mumbai again. And nominations are open, so please do send in your entries. We'll be having the 13th Cement Expo, which will be in December 2020, and India's most admired construction brands. So a lot in store for you up next. And before I say thank you to each one of you, Let me remind you that we have that beautiful Audi right there. You're more than welcome to join us for a photo op with an instant photo coming your way. And all our partners are here all evening through to connect with you and share with you how and what they're offering. So please do meet them in the free function area. A lot happening, a lot of networking, a lot of connects, a lot of conversations. But before that, on behalf of the entire team of ASAP Info Global, I'd like to thank all of you for joining us. And in this beautiful year when we complete 25 years of existence, on behalf of Construction World, this is Isha Phalla thanking you for being such a spectacular part of our evening and taking a moment and thanking all our partners for their support. May I request all of you to put your hands together for yourselves for being such a fabulous audience that you have been. Thank you. And may I now welcome all the winners up on stage for a group picture. As for the rest of you, well, it's time to say cheers. So let's look forward to a networking evening. There are cocktails. And as we go through this beautiful journey of 25 years, best wishes and more. Thank you. Enjoy the evening ahead. Winners, I'd like to request you to please carry your plaques on stage. Thank you.